Going against a young, inexperienced secondary of the Green Bay Packers, I would expect Donovan McNabb to come out and throw the ball early, and I would expect him to have a big day throwing the football.
You know, for the Green Bay Packers, everything's just been going great. They've won 6 in a row, and Brett Favre is playing fantastic football. Ahman Green is back. Javon Walker has been tremendous. The offensive line, unbelievable. The defense is even getting better, but all that really doesn't matter. If they ultimately want to get to the Super Bowl, they have to find a way to come into Philadelphia and knock off the Philadelphia Eagles with all the history behind them, 4th and 26 and all that goes with it. So today's the day they would like to get jump-started on that opportunity.
You said it. The game. Have you no heart?
None.
To check on how your fantasy team is doing, text message 63504 on your singular wireless phone or log on to foxsports.com. Let's see. We've been talking, so now we look down on the field and see who will receive the kickoff, and that's Green Bay. You look at the series history, the Packers leading it. However, you look at that bottom line, the Packers' last win in Philadelphia came back in 1962. Six straight losses for the Pack here in Philadelphia. There's a guy regarded as the best at what he does for any team in the NFL, Brian Dawkins, the free safety for the Eagles. He'll get an early shot at the Green Bay offense as Robert Ferguson takes his opening kickoff. And he's out of bounds just shy of the 20. Ripped out by Matt Ware. And old Jason Short was over there for good measure as well for Philadelphia. Career record here in Philadelphia for Brett Favre. The red-hot Brett Favre is 0-3. And he was just named the NFC Offensive Player of the Month for what he did guiding this Packers offense in November. We welcome a new audience to this game, the big late game here in Philadelphia, a rematch from that January playoff game. Chris has already said 4th and 26, and this is the first play from scrimmage for Green Bay. They bring in that U-71 package and penalty flags before the snap. This will cost Green Bay 5 yards.
False start, 76 offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
They get Chad Clifton and the 5-yard penalty. This offensive line is the best in the business, and they have allowed only 5 sacks all year. And when you have Brett Favre, the 35-year-old, playing quarterback, it's a nice thing to be able to keep him from ending up on his back. Ahman Green, fractured ribs and all, back in there for Green Bay. And he gets it. Trying to pick his way, and he gets nothing. Hollis Thomas was there. Dhani Jones, a linebacker, was there. And a good play to start for this Philadelphia defense, which looks like this up front. And guys, they say as go these defensive tackles, so goes this Philadelphia defense. And Simon and Walker have been playing better lately.
They had a good game last week. They had struggled up until last week's game, but they're pretty solid across the board in every other position. Those are the keys inside.
On second down, Favre completes it to Javon Walker. And Walker is wrestled out at the 20. A 5-yard gain. Lito Shepard on the coverage. 3rd and long coming up for the Pack.
Well, as soon as you get in long yardage situations, Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, is going to come with the blitz. They come early there. Brett Favre sees it and picks it up, but you only gain 5 yards, so advantage Johnson on that one.
3rd down and 9. Favre escapes trouble, gets rid of the football. Henderson, the fullback, is brought down immediately. Good play by Nate Wayne, the former Packer. And with pressure by Javon Kearse on the play, a stop for the Eagles defense on 3rd down.
One of the real key matchups in this game is Mark Tauscher working against Javon Kearse. That time they only rushed 4, but because of Javon Kearse and his ability to get around the corner and get pressure on Brett Favre, stop him there on 3rd down.
You know, everybody wants to talk about Terrell Owens, but on the other side of the ball, what a difference the freak has made for the Eagles.
Scott saying he's playing better this year than he has in 3 years. A line drive punt. Dexter Wynn from inside the 35. Decent return by Wynn out to the 43. A return of 11 yards. Tony Fisher on the stop, and Donovan McNabb, who is putting together his best year yet in the NFL, is onto the field, joined by an offensive line that is going to be tested without Artis Hicks at left guard, Jermaine Mayberry at right guard. It's Steve Shulo getting the start on the left side, and Alonzo Ephraim regularly a center at right guard.
Yeah, and last week, Joe, Hank Fraley, he worked to Steve Shulo's side in order to try to give him help. Now he's got 2 young players on each side of him, not to mention Grady Jackson lining up over him. He's going to need a little help of his own.
You saw the final with the 10-point victory for the Chicago Bears in a surprising win over Minnesota. So an opportunity here with a win for Green Bay to be a full game up.
Encroachment, defense, number 75, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
They get Vic Grady, who likes to say to the guy across from him, who's going to help you today, because he sees one double team after another all day long.
Well, that time Hank Fraley got some help from Donovan McNabb. You could see that they were just about ready to jump out of their skin. Grady Jackson and the other defensive lineman trying to get after McNabb, and that snap count will slow him down a little.
McNabb fires, and wide open is Greg Lewis. He's down to the 35. Lewis makes only his 7th catch of the season. A 17-yard gain, and that'll give a first down just inside the 35 of Green Bay for Philly.
What you're going to see is a little bit of a natural pick. Greg Lewis goes to the outside, but because of the slant route here on the inside by Terrell Owens, that's what knocks off the defender, and that's why Greg Lewis was as open as what he was. Greg Lewis, a young talent and a guy that they expect a lot from in years to come.
On first down, they hand it to T.O. on an end around. And he's going to go backward even more and be wrestled down just inside the 45, but a flag comes in at the end, and you wonder if there's a face mask involved.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. Ahmad Carroll made just a fantastic play to get off the blocker and come
Face
up.
mask, number 23 defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
So it's only a 5-yard penalty. And they said 23 Roman. We'll see if it's Roman or Ahmad Carroll.
Well, coming into this game, this is something that Philadelphia wanted to try to do. They wanted to run the end arounds because they felt that on the backside they would over pursue. Green Bay would. That time Ahmad Carroll, because of the coverage, he was up there to make a play.
You could see it was Roman who was guilty. Only the 5-yarder.
First down.
It's a first down for the Philadelphia Eagles, trying to move to 11-1 today with a victory. No score here early. Packers went 3 and out their first possession. Handoff is to Westbrook, and as he tries to string it out to his right, he picks up 2, and it's Sharper on the tackle. We look at the defense for Green Bay. There is no bigger difference maker than the guy that wears number 75, Grady Jackson, and what he does at the nose tackle position in defending the run. You see the linebackers, but the question marks, Troy, around that secondary, a young secondary for Green Bay.
Well, Al Harris, he's the veteran guy, but then you think of Darren Sharper, he's limited, he's banged up, he's only going to be playing in their nickel and dime packages, and so you've got some young players that the Eagles hope to exploit.
Second down and 8. McNabb over the middle, completes it. That's Pinkston. Brought down by Nick Barnett after a gain of 5.
You know, it's interesting. We've been thinking that Al Harris was going to be matched up one-on-one against Terrell Owens all day. That was the plan, and yet basically what we've seen thus far out of the Green Bay Packers defensively are zone defenses. A lot of teams are just trying to find any way that they can to take away Owens, but over the last couple of weeks, it's been Westbrook, it's been Pinkston, it's been other guys stepping up, so you can't just defend T.O. anymore.
Mike Sherman, the head coach of the Packers, will tell you that they're not very good playing the zone defense with the young guys back there. Out of the backfield, it's Westbrook. Penalty flag on the play, and Westbrook scoots out of bounds shy of the 21 with a first down. But again, penalty flag is down on the play. We'll see if the first down will stand for Philadelphia.
The Eagles were in that bunch formation. Then they brought Westbrook out. You wonder if they had a pick.
It's against Green Bay, so this will be a first down for the Eagles.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense. 5-yard penalty is declined. First down.
So a first down to the ball just outside the 21 for the Eagles.
Left, left, left. Down right, down right.
Westbrook out, Levens in. McNabb going to the end zone. T.O. incomplete, but a penalty flag comes down in the area where there was coverage on Terrell Owens by both Harris and Sharper.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to get Al Harris on the contact down the field against Terrell Owens.
Illegal contact. Defense. Number 31. 5-yard penalty. First down.
One of the things that Al Harris wants to do, he wants to get physical with Terrell Owens to try to keep him from getting the ball in his hands. Thinks that's the best way to go about covering him. Here today, we're going to see a lot of this, but as Terrell Owens starts to the corner, you see Al Harris grab him.
Alonzo Ephraim and Steve Shulo inside. The two guards that replace the starters have been doing a fantastic job thus far as well. Big area for Donovan McNabb to step up and make that throw.
How about that? This game isn't 5 minutes old, and the Packers have already committed 4 penalties. McNabb with pressure. Penalty flag comes in here. And McNabb throws it out of bounds. And this is a hold against the Eagles.
It's a great job that time by the Packers of not overcommitting to a scramble by Donovan McNabb. They're so worried about not his running for 5 or 10 or 15 yards, but his ability to make big throws in the passing game once he starts scrambling around.
Holding. Offense. Number 72. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, they better be worried a little bit about him running the ball. Last year in that January playoff game, he rushed for 107 yards. Defeating Green Bay, and that's a playoff record.
And that's Trey Thomas on the hold against Aaron Campman, and that's just being lazy with your feet. As soon as your feet get out of position and Aaron Campman started to come underneath him, his only alternative was to grab him.
Scott Green, the referee, drilled Thomas in the helmet with a penalty flag. McNabb under pressure, steps up, and he's brought down. Ahmad Carroll, who had such a big night on Monday night against St. Louis, ends up with the sack and a loss of 2 on the play. Pressure by Harris. Carroll gets the sack.
It's going to come right here from the outside, and you just get the feeling now that this is a defense that is growing. They had so many young guys in the secondary, and you wonder just how much Bob Slowick, their defensive coordinator, could do early on in the season. But as they have gotten more and more experience, we're seeing more exotic looks out of the Packers.
Yeah, and on that play, the Eagles had the perfect protection on. Brian Westbrook missed the block. Michael Westbrook.
More pressure, and dumping it off is McNabb. What a move by Westbrook. And he gets the 10 yards back that the Eagles were hit with on the hold by Thomas, plus a couple more, a gain of 12.
And Troy, I think for a quarterback, what greater luxury is there than to have a guy like Brian Westbrook that can catch the ball, make somebody miss, and add 10 yards to your stats?
Well, there's no question. I mean, he's so versatile, and what you can do with him as far as just splitting him out, putting him at the wide receiver position, have him run routes out of the backfield. I mean, he is quite a weapon, and he creates more matchup problems for a defense than anyone else on the field.
No running back across the NFL has caught more passes than Westbrook. McNabb, the ball is taken away. And the Green Bay Packers end up on top of it. It was Cullen Jenkins who knocked it away, and it looks like Cullen Jenkins is the one that ends up on top of it.
And Cullen Jenkins has really been one of the big surprises for this football team. He He plays hard each and every week and makes a huge play here, getting the ball back for Green Bay.
He made an impact across the defensive line for Green Bay, forced the turnover, recovered the fumble, and the Packers have it starting at their own 23. They hand to Ahman Green, who missed last week with cracked ribs. Nice gain of 6 yards on first down.
Well, Cullen Jenkins right here is going to be working against Alonzo Ephraim, who is essentially the 5th guard in the lineup now for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a converted guard. He was a center and really just trying to fill in a warm body at that position. But we're going to have to keep an eye on that matchup all day long because Ephraim is really playing out of position.
On second down, Favre. Bubba Franks picked off, and it's Dawkins who gets Favre again. Dawkins got him in the January playoff game to set up the winning field goal and playing center field here. He comes up with the interception. That's his 3rd of the year.
That's the 2nd week in a row we've seen Brian Dawkins make that kind of play over the top. Tremendous range. There was nowhere for Brett Favre to throw the football. He tried forcing one in.
Dawkins gets the interception. If you talk to Brett Favre, he'll say, I don't know really much about my stats. I don't care anymore about my stats. He wasn't exactly sure how many touchdowns throws he had this season as Terrell Owens gets it on the reception and picks up 6. But he does know how many interceptions, and Favre now has 12.
Watch how far Brian Dawkins on this interception runs before Brett Favre even begins to throw it. He sees the receiver on that side, and as Troy Aikman pointed out during the break, there was no other receiver. So he just jumped all over the route, that time run by Bubba Franks, and actually beat him to the spot.
Yeah, and even with Brian Dawkins going over the top, he still couldn't have fit that ball in because of where Sheldon Brown was.
On second down and 4, Westbrook. Cledius Hunt got to him first. A game break. It's James Brown back in L.A.
Joe Buck, the torrid pace of Peyton Manning continuing. 3 touchdown tosses today. He now has 44 touchdowns. This ties Chris Collinsworth's colleague, Dan Marino, for 2nd highest all time. 12 consecutive games with multiple touchdowns ties Johnny Unitas for all-time highs. And oh, by the way, Indianapolis won big. Back to Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Chris Collinsworth.
I thought he was going back to my Pop Warner days. He was going to say I was comparing myself to Peyton Manning. That was a reach.
3rd down and 5. McNabb. Pressure. McNabb stays on his feet long enough.
Lord.
Flips it for the first down.
You've got to be kidding me.
Pinkston on the reception, and the strength of McNabb showing up. Jenkins couldn't bring him down, and McNabb completes it for 11 yards.
It really is remarkable, the athletic ability of Donovan McNabb. He's trying to go to Terrell Owens, who was in motion, but pretty good coverage there by Michael Hawthorne. And then Donovan gets pressure in the pocket, and at that time he finds Todd Pinkston, who's moving around and gets into an open space. Unbelievable. Cullen Jenkins trying to get him to the ground, but you're not going to get him down just pulling on his ankle.
Now, how about the arm strength of that to have your wrong foot forward, 1 foot off the ground, and complete that pass? Are you kidding me?
A blitz coming from Green Bay here, and it's Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens sniffing the end zone, and he is in. Touchdown, Philadelphia.
Here we go.
If you're waiting for a great touchdown celebration, I just think we saw Terrell Owens maybe unprepared for an early touchdown.
Well, it's really pretty remarkable because the Green Bay Packers struggle when they get into zone coverages. That time they completely turn the zone loose where Terrell Owens is running through. Much better defensive team when they're in man coverage, but they made a huge mistake turning him loose in the middle of the field.
No Sharpie, no pom-poms, no Ray Lewis. No waybacks. No. A lot of people talking about this matchup coming into this game of Al Harris, the former Eagle, against Terrell Owens, the new Eagle. And Terrell Owens just set a franchise record for Philadelphia with his 14th touchdown catch this season. He's also over 1,000 receiving yards this year. 5th straight year he's accomplished that. Davenport, who had the big Monday night on the ground at Lambeau against St. Louis, returns at 16 yards. Adams on the stop on the phone. We welcome you back to Philadelphia. Donovan McNabb adds another touchdown. He has 24 on the season. His total of 23, coming in 3rd best in the NFL. And now Favre will try to answer. That's right through the hands of Ben Steele. Incomplete. 2nd and 10. Back to the TOTD.
And a perfect storm of things going wrong. You have your best pass rusher dropping out. So Donovan McNabb with so much time, the zone gets stretched vertically. And so there's literally no one home. You have a defensive end underneath, and your 2 deep coverage guys are standing back at the goal line covering the deep clear out route.
Into the end zone for the 14th time this season was Owens. Ahman Green bounces it outside and scoots across. It looks like enough for a first down as they marked him out at the 35 for the first time tonight. We'll say hi to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, the Packers tried several different protective devices before settling on the flak jacket that Ahman Green is wearing tonight. It is a custom-made jacket. It attaches at the shoulders, very similar to what quarterbacks wear to protect their ribs. Green needs that extra protection, of course, because he has a fractured rib. I spoke with him for a hot second before the game. He said he feels fine, but it'll be interesting to see how he is in the 4th quarter after being hit for 4 quarters.
He just got smacked there by Semino after the completion. Good for 3 yards over the middle.
Mark Semino, of course, moving out now to the outside linebacker position. Jeremiah Trotter being moved to the inside linebacker position. And they just feel like emotionally this is a different defense with Jeremiah Trotter in the middle. His phrase is, turn it back to your boy. I've got it from tackle to tackle. Turn it back to your boy.
2nd down and 6, and a toss to Green running left. They're not afraid to use Ahman Green here early. He's been busy. He gets 4. And as you look at this 6-game winning streak for the Green Bay Packers, it coincided with Mike Sherman taking over the play calling. There's the record. There's the yards per game, and they've allowed only 2 sacks. And I guess that bottom point should probably be the top point, Troy. You go back always to this offensive line for Green Bay.
Well, like any good offense, those guys are the key. They've been playing together a long time. They're very athletic, very powerful, and doing a great job up front.
On 3rd down and 2, they hand to Donald Driver, who is in motion, and he is collared shy of first down yardage by Sheldon Brown. Dhani Jones there, a loss of 2, and another Packer punt coming up.
You know, you go back to that last point about Mike Sherman when he took over the play calling. Yeah, they're 6-0, and they've been, you know, going for over 400 yards of offense during most of those games. They were pretty good under Tom Rosley as well. 3 of the 5 games where he was calling plays, over 400 yards of offense, and only 3 sacks in those games. So it's not like they were that bad when Tom Rosley was calling the plays.
Good punt here by Parker. And muffing the punt is Dexter Wynn. He's able to get back on top of it at the 7th. So a near miss, an opportunity for a brief moment for Green Bay, but Wynn able to get back on top. And you come to an Eagles game, Owens gets a touchdown. You're almost disappointed when he doesn't come up with some great trick after getting the touchdown, and Andy Reid coming over to congratulate him and say, okay, we're one touchdown away from Andy Reid donning the tights. No word as to whether there'll be leg warmers or anything else involved. Donovan McNabb has started 7 for 7, 99 yards and a touchdown. L.J. Smith, the tight end, gets it out to the 12, a gain of 5.
You know, when Terrell Owens came to Philadelphia, a lot of people asked Andy Reid how he was going to treat him. You know, obviously we're well aware of some of the things that happened with Terrell Owens in San Francisco, and he said, hey, I'm going to coach him up just like I do anybody else, and when he needs me to get on him, I'm going to get on him, and when he does a good job, I'm going to go over and tell him a good job. And we saw a great example of that right there after the touchdown reception. And that's one thing about Andy Reid. I mean, he does a good job of keeping everybody in line and treating everybody fairly.
Under 3 to play in this first quarter. Donovan McNabb has time, and the catch is made stretching, trying to get first down yardage is the fullback Josh Perry. And we'll see where they mark it. Might be just inches shy. Philadelphia Magazine, a fantastic publication. I read it cover to cover in my hotel room 3 different times. Has Andy Reid on the cover, dressed up with the triangular hat and the whole Philadelphia thing. We talked about last week. He's got the more conventional hat. It's tough to get a headset over the triangular one if you're coaching on the sideline, and he is wondering if they're going to give Josh Perry enough yardage, that little stretch out, for a first down.
I thought the cover of that magazine was so good, Joe, I couldn't even get myself to open it up.
Well, you're really missing something.
Really?
It's good. It's good. There it is, inches shy, so 3rd and inches coming up for Philadelphia.
You know, I thought it was interesting. They had an article on Andy's wife, Tammy, and she asked him, why did you have to make a bet that you're going to wear a cat suit if he gets 15 touchdowns? And he turned around and said, do you know how many touchdowns 15 is? There's no way he's going to get 15 touchdowns. And here it is. We're not even very far into the season, and there's Andy Reid throwing a red flag.
Caliendo's got nothing on that guy. You see Frank Caliendo during the pregame show with that Andy Reid piece? Brokaw, Andy Reid. I like it. It's pretty good.
It's not bad.
This guy likes his get-up, doesn't he?
He does. He likes the red flag.
He'll be wearing it for the rest of his life, to work, to church, everywhere, now that he's been on TV.
He'll be using it at the gas station in the morning when he's changing oil.
3rd and 1. Here's Westbrook, and he is wrangled down. What a play by Niall Diggs.
You know, I thought Niall Diggs a week ago played one of the best games I've seen him. He has really started to run through a lot. We're seeing him use his speed. He was banged up a lot last season and not able to really show what he was fully capable of doing. Now we're seeing the acceleration. We're seeing the speed as he comes through and makes play after play in the backfield, and a huge one there for the Packers. Hopefully get this momentum turned back for them a little bit.
Niall Diggs leads his Green Bay team in tackles for loss. On that play, just back to the line of scrimmage was Westbrook, and that forces the punt by Dirk Johnson. From inside the 40, it's Chapman. Nice return by Chapman, and he crosses midfield. So with 1:38 remaining, Green Bay with great field position. We look ahead to next week. The Seahawks at the Vikings. That's going to be a big game for each team, no matter what happens tomorrow night on Monday Night Football for Seattle. Doubleheader. Game 2, Lions and Packers. They move that game to a late start. If you are in Green Bay watching this game and you have that game on your schedule, it's now a late start. Nate Wayne, the former Packer, is down and injured after covering that punt. Nate Wayne was helped off the field. He's missed the last couple of games with a pulled hamstring, and it looks like it got him again. So they got him off the field. And to you guys, the experts, the analysts, I'll ask you, how did the Chicago Bears beat the Minnesota Vikings today in Chicago? How'd that happen?
Hey, that's the NFL today, Joe. That's what we talk about every week, the parity that's involved, and that's why there's so many teams still alive in the NFC.
William Henderson, the fullback, gets drilled. That was Jeremiah Trotter, the middle linebacker, and we're under a minute and a half to go in this first quarter.
Well, and that's the best explanation I've got for it.
That's it. But Chad Hutchinson played today, right? The old Dallas Cowboys, former baseball player with the Cardinals, and based on what we saw out of the quarterback situation over Thanksgiving, apparently it was a step up.
Maybe the extra day's rest really helped them.
Could have been. Yeah, could have been.
We'll move back to this game. 2nd down and 6. Favre is going to go down the middle of the field, throwing into double coverage again, and he is almost picked off by Lito Shepherd, who had to leave earlier with a sprained finger. He went in for x-rays. The x-rays negative, and Favre is trying to bite off a little too much.
Yeah, it's the second time. On the first one, he had the interception, which we saw. Now he's trying to throw into double coverage again. You've got Lito Shepherd and then Sheldon Brown coming underneath it. You just can't force the deep post when you've got 2 defenders down there covering.
Troy, look at this. Bubba Franks pops wide open on this play. There is nobody back there. It looks like he was, but he was a good 10 yards behind that defender.
3rd down and 6. Favre over the middle, completes it for a first down at Chapman, and there's a penalty flag on the play.
Yeah, he got held as well, but he made the catch, so that'll be a completion. Sheldon Brown grabbed him coming out of the cut.
Illegal contact. Defense. Number 24. Penalty is declined. First down.
You know, Jim Johnson certainly not afraid to put these corners out on an island. They brought Brian Dawkins on the blitz. You've got one-on-one. Didn't get a lot of him, but enough to draw the flag, as you're going to see Brian Dawkins coming in on the bottom. He gets blocked up, but Jim Johnson has never been nervous about making his cover guys cover one-on-one.
Favre sets up a screen for Ahman Green. Has a blocker in front of him. That was Wall, and Green is down to the 10. These guards for Green Bay can really run, and Mike Wall was out in front of that play and provided Green enough room to pick up 17.
And I think Mike Wall is probably the most athletic offensive lineman in the National Football League. He's big, he's strong, but he can also run like a deer, and that's what allows them to get out on the edge. You see Gray Rugemer, and early on when he first started playing for Mike Flanagan, you didn't see him pulling out too often either, but that time you got both those guys out in front. And then, of course, a good runner in Ahman Green. You're going to be able to pick up some key yards.
We are finished with 1/4 of this rematch from the January playoff game where the Eagles came back to win it. Green Bay Packers with their 6-game winning streak riding into this game against the 10-1 Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles turned a Brett Favre interception into 7 points. 41-yard touchdown hookup between Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens, and now after a good stand defensively by the Pack and that play by Diggs, 1st and goal for Green Bay, down 7. We start the 2nd quarter. Penalty flag comes in, and with Davenport running, this is going to be a 5-yarder against Green Bay. So it's been a sloppy start penalty-wise for the Pack.
Offense. Tight end. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
And you go back to the game a season ago in those playoffs, and the difference in the game was the Green Bay Packers were twice inside the 10-yard line and came away with only 3 points. In this game, you have the best red zone offense in Green Bay going up against the best red zone defense in the Philadelphia Eagles. This is where these types of games get decided.
1st and goal from the 15. And the pass is bobbled and picked off by Brown. And Brett Favre is having a horrendous start to this day in Philadelphia.
Well, it really is, Joe, on that particular throw there. That's one you want to throw to the back pylon, and for whatever reason, Brett Favre decided to throw a line drive ball. He's trying to get it into Donald Driver, but because he throws such a flat ball, Sheldon Brown's able to turn around and make a play on that. Had he have gotten air under that and let Donald Driver run to the back pylon, he may have had a shot for the touchdown.
You know, Troy, I think he was trying to throw that one to the back shoulder, but Sheldon Brown never took his eyes off of Brett Favre.
Let's see if Brown...
Yeah, I think the ball hit the ground. That's worth a challenge. I don't know that they get the interception if this play is challenged.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. You wonder, as we look down at the Green Bay sideline, if they're going to throw the flag.
Well, they missed an opportunity there.
It's at least worth a look, worth a challenge. You may not get it, but why not, as the pass is complete to Westbrook. He's wrestled down by Roman after a gain of 9.
Same rules apply to wide receivers on receptions. You're going to take a look, and as Sheldon Brown gets the ball in his hands, does he maintain possession all the way to the ground? Nice job of concentration, but the ball there is loose. That's not a good angle for the shot, but the ball was loose when he came to the ground, and it looked to me like he did not have possession of the ball when the ball hit the ground.
Right there.
I think you're absolutely right.
But no challenge by the Green Bay sideline. And McNabb fires and hits Terrell Owens out to the 25, first down.
You know, we go back to that touchdown pass to Terrell Owens when the Green Bay Packers were in zone coverage, and the Packers are really a better man-to-man coverage team because they know who they've got. They're a young secondary, and when they get into their zone coverages, a lot of times they have breakdowns in assignments for that very reason. Al Harris, who was supposed to be playing man-to-man on Terrell Owens throughout the day, they gave up the zone coverage, and that's why he was able to get the touchdown earlier.
Ahmad Carroll wrestling with Todd Pinkston, injuring himself on that last play. He's getting help getting off the It's about as nice and evening weather-wise as you're going to find in early December in Philadelphia. It is beautiful, and it has been an ugly start for Brett Favre. Night and day difference between McNabb and Favre here in this first half. McNabb has yet to throw an incompletion. That continues thanks to a great catch by L.J. Smith. Reaches behind him to get it, and a 20-yard completion for McNabb, who's 12 for 12.
And you just got to think the Green Bay Packers are in trouble right now. Ahmad Carroll was a terrific young cornerback, getting better, and now they're down to another rookie and Joey Thomas having to get in there and try. I just can't imagine they're going to play very much man coverage at all from here, which takes away their ability to blitz and play pressure defense. They're just going to have to sit back, and McNabb's going to pick them apart.
Carroll's back in the game. He's at right corner at the bottom of your screen. Handoff is to Westbrook. Stringing it out to his left. He's got a first down as he dives out of bounds at the 41, a gain of 14.
Yeah, I think, though, Chris, if when we were talking with Mike Sherman, he said that the man coverage is what they do best, because of the fact that they are such a young secondary and knowing that that's their guy and just being able to lock up on them. And they have been beaten at times because of that approach. And there's no question that when they get into the zone coverages, they have some problems. And so they're really caught in somewhat of a quandary. Are we going to play man? Do we match up well against these guys? The answer is no. Or do we play zones and allow Terrell Owens and these other guys to run through those zones uninhibited?
Westbrook was split out wide to the right at the top of the screen. Dorsey Levens coming out of the backfield on the reception, and Levens, a former Packer, gets 9.
Well, thus far, just about all we've seen are zone defenses, regardless of who's on the field for the Green Bay Packers. And I can tell you this, if the pass rush of the Packers doesn't get a little bit better, they are going to get destroyed in this game, because Donovan McNabb is just sitting back there holding the ball. The zones are getting stretched in a deeper and deeper way. There's all kinds of holes in a defense when it gets stretched like that. There's no way to stop them without a little bit of pressure.
If McNabb can't complete his next pass, he'll set a franchise record. And he does. 14 straight completions to start the day. This one to Westbrook. And he's down just inside the 15.
And that time they were able to get pressure on Donovan McNabb right up the middle. That's the one area where a quarterback does not want to get pressure. Green Bay gets right in his face, but Donovan stares it down and is still able to make a good throw away from the defender to Brian Westbrook. Nice job by Donovan McNabb hanging in the pocket to get the ball completed.
I'll just bring it up. I know you guys agree that with all the focus on Terrell Owens and Donovan McNabb, the start he's had, Westbrook can be such a difference maker, and he was not available for that playoff game last January. The torn tricep. That's out of the reach of Josh Perry, or at least off his hands, and that's the first incompletion for McNabb, who started 14 for 14 for a club record.
And they might bench Josh Perry for that one. Pretty good throw right there, too. But, Joe, you bring up a good point. And you watch this Eagles team on film in that playoff game a season ago. They didn't have Brian Westbrook. They didn't have Terrell Owens. They didn't have Javon Curse. And how much different this team looks when you watch them on film this season. They have so many more ways to beat you than what they had a season ago.
One guy they did have, though, Freddie Mitchell.
The legend.
Second down and 10 for the Eagles. Westbrook out of the backfield. Barnett forces him out of bounds, shy of first down yardage with 10:59 left to go in this half. Westbrook got 5.
Now you take a look at what the Eagles are doing with Terrell Owens. They send him in motion, and then he's going to run what's called an angle route. And as he comes underneath, it collapses the defense and then opens the outside swing route to Brian Westbrook. Take a look as Terrell Owens there runs the angle, and then you've got nothing but open space on the perimeter and get the ball into one of your better runners' hands.
Pretty good play by Nick Barnett, who was guilty on that 4th and 26 in January. Now in his second year, showing some speed. Third down and 5. McNabb comes back to this side of the field. Westbrook, touchdown Philadelphia.
left guard, Steve Shulo. He tries to get out and put the block. He's not able to get out there in time, but Brian Westbrook does a good job in open space of being able to get that ball in the end zone.
And Troy, you put Terrell Owens at the top of the field, and nobody is thinking about a screen to the backside. They have so much coverage focused on him on that side. It's just a walk-in touchdown.
And they have so many weapons now with Terrell Owens. So many. Brian Westbrook gets his 7th touchdown of the season, his 4th at the end of a pass reception from Donovan McNabb, who now has 25 touchdowns through the air this season. 112 during his career, and it's 14-0. Philadelphia on top. We will take a break. Terrell Owens. Brett Favre was talking about the Monday night game with all the hoopla surrounding his 200th consecutive regular season start, saying that's the last thing I needed was more pressure. Well, there was pressure, no doubt, coming in to this game against Philadelphia with a history between these two. When you see the day for Favre compared to McNabb, 16 out of 17 is Donovan, 2 touchdowns compared to the 2 picks thrown by Favre. Toss to Ahman Green. And Green gets it to the sideline. Nice run on first down, forced out by Semino. A gain of 8. Let's go down to Pam.
Hey, Joe, the Packers defense is trying to regroup after giving up those 14 points to McNabb and company. Grady Jackson dragged his big body up and down the bench, demanding that his teammates pick it up. The former Eagle, Al Harris, told his teammates that if each guy handled his own business, they would be okay. Back to you.
All right, Pam.
Well, the guy they really need to handle his own business is Brett Favre right now, because they have really been stopped only because of 2 mistakes by him. 2nd
down and a yard and a half, and Ahman Green gets a first down for Green Bay.
As we take a look at Ahman Green, we see that he's not wearing the protective sleeves that he used to wear throughout his career. He stopped wearing them 6 games ago against Detroit, and during that time has not fumbled the ball 1 time. So Mike Sherman certainly didn't feel like removing the sleeves has had anything to do with him not fumbling, but he has not fumbled since he quit wearing them.
I wonder how he'll hang on to the ball today, dealing with that flak jacket around his middle, trying to cradle the ball against his body. Najee Davenport, who was so impressive in his first start on Monday night, with a nice run, picking up 6 after gaining 178 yards on 19 carries, shredding the St. Louis defense.
And he was doing it, Joe, at about 85% health by his own estimation. He's been battling some hamstring injuries. Both hamstrings have been giving him some problems. He's got bruised ribs as well, playing here today. And what a load he is, and what a great game he had last week.
Restricted free agent next year is Davenport. 2nd down and 4. Davenport gets it running left, and it was Michael Lewis, the safety, chasing that play down. A loss of 1.
Michael Lewis and Javon Kearse, both that time. The Green Bay Packers have a fairly slowly developing running game. They're going to pull people around, pull them up and through, and in order to stop it, you have to meet them in the backfield and create a pile. That time Javon Kearse created the pile, and Michael Lewis came around the top and cleaned it up.
And it's a great example that not every time when you bring the blitz is it for pass play. Sometimes you have run blitzes. That's what Michael Lewis was on that play.
3rd down and 5. Favre is going to go down again. Corey Simon, who had only 2 sacks coming in, but had a sack and a half last week at the Giants, gets 1 here.
And this is what Jim Johnson and this defensive staff has been waiting for from Corey Simon this season. When you've got an edge rusher like they have with Javon Kearse, if you can then provide a guy who can bring pressure up the middle like Corey Simon does here, it just gives your quarterback nowhere to go with the football. Great job by Corey Simon, showing some quickness coming off the ball.
And Troy, that's the first sack this Packers offensive line has given up on 3rd down all season.
And only the 6th overall. It's Wynn on the return. And Dexter has nowhere to go. Brought down by Navies, covering the punt. Corey Simon, an unrestricted free agent to be, celebrating. He's getting hot at the defensive tackle position. Offensive line for Green Bay giving up its first sack since the end of October. setting up the punt, and now Philadelphia with the ball at their own 32, leading by 14. McNabb has all day, fires, and the pass is caught out to the 40 is Greg Lewis. We already talked about 4th and 26. Freddie Mitchell takes us back to last January.
Divisional playoff, 4th and 26. Have you heard of that? Everything leads down to one play. It starts with the front line. What are you going to do? Who are you going to call? Sultan of the slot? A Fredrin? Fred X? Oh, first down Freddie? I think I got what you're looking for. The people's champ. There it is. The champ is here.
Second down
funny
and 2.
is that?
What was the Fredrin? What was that one?
The best part of that whole thing is him looking down to compose his thoughts before he looks up at the camera. Carroll is coming on the blitz. Terrell Owens out of his reach with Roman the safety on his back. By the way, McNabb has completed passes to 7 different receivers today. The people's champ has been shut out to this point.
Well, give him time. I mean, he usually gets us one during each game, but they bring Ahmad Carroll off the edge, and you got a safety on Terrell Owens because they brought the corner on the other side as well. And you've got to be real careful if you're going to bring pressure like that and you're going to have that kind of one-on-one matchup. You better get to the quarterback, and they failed to on Donovan on that play, and they could have given up a big one.
You know, the one good thing the Packers have going for them is both their safeties in this game, Mark Roman and Baju, both former cornerbacks, so they can do a little bit of that.
3rd down and 2, and the pass is complete for a first down. Dorsey Levens has 5.
You know, you talk so much about Tom Brady and the remarkable win streaks that he's had and all that goes along with that with the New England Patriots. But Donovan McNabb now, since he recovered from his injuries a season ago, is 19-2 as a starter. 19-2, and there were times that he didn't have his main weapon, Brian Westbrook. He certainly didn't have a #1 receiver a season ago, and yet he just kept finding a way to win games. And now that he has these weapons back, he has been incredible this year.
On first down, McNabb with a ton of time guns it, and a penalty flag comes in. Pinkston with the rookie Carroll on him, and the flag was drawn in that spot just outside the 40-yard line, and it looks like they're going to get Ahmad Carroll.
Well, and that's part of the problem. You know, they've shown
Defense. Number 28. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Green Bay had shown a lot of zone coverage early in the game, and now they're going more to man-to-man coverage, and so you've got Ahmad Carroll. You saw the grab there, and that's the predicament that this Green Bay defense is in. How are they going to do it? If they can't get pressure up front with 4 guys and they allow them to play some zone coverages, they got to go man. They've got to bring pressure, and that's the problems that the Philadelphia Eagles are presenting for this defense.
McNabb fires, and off the hands of Pinkston. You're looking at the scores that are zipping by on the top of your screen. A 14-0 Washington lead over the Giants with Eli Manning at quarterback. And the Giants are slip-sliding away. The early game headliners, Week 13, Peyton Manning up to 44 on the year.
Had a bad day today.
Yeah, only 3. Sin Muhammad of the resurgent Carolina Panthers with 10 catches.
I mean, you think about the injuries that Carolina has had at the tailback position. Stephen Davis, Deshaun Foster, Stephen Smith, their go-to wide receiver, and yet they've caught fire here, and now they're winning games.
2nd down and 10. McNabb had to jump up to get that one away, and he completes it to Terrell Owens. Owens is wrestled out of bounds at the 41. Looks to be just shy of a first down by Al Harris making the play, the former Eagle.
Yeah, and this time what you're going to see is you got Terrell Owens in the backfield, and he's going to run an option route. So he comes up one-on-one on Al Harris, and because of that, you run out of the break rather than hook it up. And I can tell you that when you've got a receiver like Terrell Owens coming at you out of the backfield, it makes it extremely difficult on a defensive back then when he's got a 2-way go and you don't know which way he's going.
3rd down and 1. McNabb keeps it, throws it. Wide open is Westbrook. Boy, they make it look easy. Touchdown, Philadelphia. You talk about a confident Eagles offense is willing to call any and everything, no matter down and distance, third and less than one, and this is what happens.
They're going to catch Owens going up the field here, and they completely lose Westbrook on the outside. Just an out and up route, and right now this Packers defense is just lost. They just don't know who to cover. They don't know who to follow. They've tried a zone, they've tried man, they've tried blitzing, they've tried everything, and they are not even coming close to stopping the Eagles.
21-0. Donovan McNabb with a pair of 41-yard touchdown throws. Pass against this secondary for the Green Bay Packers. It has been now the other side. Green Bay came in with visions of gashing this Philadelphia defense, running the ball, taking advantage of the defensive tackles, using that great offensive line. Now they're down 21-0 with 5.5 to go in the first half, and they've got to think about just putting it up.
Well, you don't have to completely abandon the game plan at this stage. There's still plenty of time. The big thing for Green Bay is to get the ball here, put together a good drive, and try to get points prior to going to half. But the longer the game goes along, then obviously you're not afforded the ability to continue running the football, and then it gets on the shoulders of Brett Favre, who has struggled immensely here in the first half.
Westbrook, by the way, with his 2 touchdowns today, has also received for 100 yards from Donovan McNabb. That's a single-game career high, and we're not even through a half. How about all the attention, Chris, that Owens got on that touchdown to Westbrook?
It's really amazing what he's done for the other guys in this offense. He's going to take it straight up the field, and the entire defense is going to run with Terrell Owens. Triple coverage there, 0 coverage on the outside on Westbrook.
Well, Mark Roman, he's the guy who had Westbrook in that coverage. So even though there were all those players running to Terrell Owens, Mark Roman broke the coverage, and that's why Westbrook was able to get in behind.
Westbrook now with 21 career touchdowns, I believe it is, and he averages 25 yards a touchdown. He is a big play guy.
Favre to put it up, fires for Steele, his tight end, and he is smacked. Bracketed on the coverage by Sheldon Brown and Lewis, and Brown is down.
Ben Steele looked like he was pretty shooken up on the play as well. And I tell you right now, this secondary, whether it's Brian Dawkins or Sheldon Brown and Lito Shepherd, they are putting the hit on these Green Bay receivers.
So Sheldon Brown, their young corner. Sheldon Brown was able to get up and get off the field under his own power. It's 2nd down and 10, and they hand to Ahman Green, nowhere to go. Jeremiah Trotter.
What a difference. I mean, really, just what a difference watching this Eagles defense here in the last month. They add him to the lineup. They add the emotion. They add the downhill attacking style. And you saw it from everybody, not just Jeremiah Trotter. Dhani Jones last week, I thought, played one of the best games I've ever seen him play. You get an emotional leader like Hugh Douglas back on the sideline. This is a different team this season.
3rd down and 9. Four-man rush. Favre is underthrowing his receiver here, Fisher. And it's 3 and out again for the Green Bay Packers. Fisher was wide open, and Favre threw it into the ground.
Yeah, and right now, Brett Favre has just not gotten into a comfort zone here in this first half. We've seen him make some poor decisions, and then we've also seen him make some bad throws. And he's obviously going to have to play better here in the second half if Green Bay is going to have a chance to get back into this game.
You know, he was really backing out of that throw without anybody around. It's almost like he was anticipating pressure that wasn't there.
Barker punts it away with Dexter Wynn waiting for it. And Wynn able to get a great return out to the 49-yard line. A return of 18 yards from Dexter Wynn. That's his longest of the season. A penalty flag and an injury. I'm guessing at this point, I think it's Paris Lennon who...
There's no foul on the play. First down.
Paris Lennon, who's been bothered with a bad left knee, injured and in practice this week. Tough to see the number. We'll make sure. As we remind you that this February, Fox takes center stage for 2 of sports' biggest events. The Great American Race, the Daytona 500. The NFL crowns a new champion in Super Bowl 39. Sports' greatest moments continue to unfold this February only on Fox.
Troy, can you ever remember a time that there's been one team in the NFC that has been this dominant? They've played, what, 8 games, I think, out of the NFC already. They've won every game by at least 10. Even when your teams were so good, or the 49ers, there was always competition within the conference. And now you kind of look around and you say, well, if the Green Bay Packers aren't competitive with this bunch, who can be?
Well, that's exactly right, Chris. And really, it's not even just this season. When you look at what the Eagles have done for the last several years, I mean, since 2000, the Philadelphia Eagles are 44-12 against NFC competition. I mean, that's just utterly dominant in that conference. And, you know, we've talked about it before. The things that they do, their personnel decisions, and the good coaching that they have, they've done a remarkable job.
Blitz coming from Green Bay. Diggs was coming. The pass is away, and they'll throw a flag. Ahmad Carroll with his hands on his hips again. Todd Pinkston, the intended receiver, and this will be pass interference. Carroll has had a rough night.
Yeah, it really has, and he was in position, and he didn't have to make this grab at the end. He was going to have the play made for him because it was going to be overthrown.
Defense, number 28, first down.
But the one thing we've seen, Troy, is that Todd Pinkston, while he certainly has not been a #1 receiver, when he ends up on the backside in these man coverages, he has the speed to take off and go vertical and make plays.
Well, that's really his strength, is his ability to get vertical, go up and make a play. And he said it was disappointing that his opportunities have been diminished with the addition of Terrell Owens here offensively, but he's tried to remain patient, and here in recent weeks, his opportunities have in fact increased.
On first down, McNabb under pressure fires, and the pass incomplete to the fullback Perry.
And Donovan McNabb got smoked in the pocket. Aaron Campman coming around the right side, right to the front side of Donovan McNabb. And, you know, Donovan, as we've already seen, he likes to hang in the pocket and will till the last minute. He took a big hit waiting on that one.
Penalty flag on that
Illegal
play.
formation, offense, 5-yard penalty is declined. Second down.
They're working against John Runyon, and well, you don't take too many of those and keep getting up.
Is KGB playing out here today?
He's out there.
Called his name yet? Has
No.
he brought any pressure at all? These two tackles locking up pretty good against KGB, who is their best pass rusher, and right now they're showing they cannot get there without blitzing.
And the 2 young guards are at least competitive and holding their own for Philadelphia. More time for McNabb, and the pass is low. 2 different fouls on this play. There's 2 separate penalties on that last play. One flag in the secondary and the other in the area of a hold.
There are 2 fouls on the play that will offset. Holding, 68 offense, illegal contact, defense. Those penalties offset. Second down.
Well, the reason we haven't seen KGB is Trey Thomas, number 72. Watch what he does here. Going to get his hands up a little bit, but just literally knock Villamilla off his feet and straight backwards. It is a size mismatch, about 250 pounds going against 350 pounds, and KGB has to start using that speed if he's going to have any impact at all in this game.
Yeah, KGB, who's coming off 4 good games. He's had a sack in each of those 4 games. In fact, 6 sacks during that span.
Second down and 10. McNabb with all day again. Pinkston. And Todd Pinkston has a first down to the 6. The defensive line for Green Bay, even with the inexperienced Shulo and Ephraim at guards, not getting any pressure on Donovan McNabb.
Well, and you've got man-to-man, and so it doesn't really matter. Actually, it was not man, it was zone, but it doesn't really matter what the Packers are trying to do when you consider Todd Pinkston and Terrell Owens and Brian Westbrook. And then you got Chad Lewis and L.J. Smith. They just got so many weapons right now on the offensive side of the ball that Bob Slowick, the defensive coordinator, he's got his hands full trying to figure out who are we going to slow down first.
First and goal from the 6. McNabb rolls to his right, throws, Smith, touchdown. L.J. Smith gets his 4th of the year. And everybody's been in on the fun with McNabb spreading the ball around since the opening kickoff.
And that's a great point, Joe, because that's exactly what Donovan McNabb has been doing, not only in this game, but throughout the season. Because of the weapons that I talked about, Donovan McNabb's been able to come back and find the open guy. He's not just been forcing the ball into Terrell Owens. This time they come out on the half boot. They got L.J. Smith coming out to the corner, get the ball in his hands, and he gets it in.
You know, the amazing thing about McNabb is how trusted he is in the red zone. Coming into this game since 2000, in the red zone, he's thrown 70 touchdown passes and only 2 interceptions. So you look around and you wonder why Andy Reid's willing to throw it all the time. It's because that guy right there never makes mistakes.
He has kept everybody happy since this. It's 28-0. L.J. Smith got up banged up after that touchdown reception. He appears to be okay. And to further the point from earlier, guys, if you consider what's going on here between Philadelphia and Green Bay, and then think about what happened with the Atlanta Falcons being shut out today by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where is the competition from top to bottom, the rest of the NFC for Philadelphia, as they are marching their way toward home field advantage yet again throughout the NFC playoffs.
Well, and let's not forget what happened to Minnesota today either, losing to Chicago. So how that impacts Green Bay, and they've got a chance to make up more ground as well. And, you know, the NFC is a pretty muddy picture right now once you get beyond the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, the Atlanta Falcons, but there's still all these teams that are still alive, Chris.
Do we need to just cancel the playoffs? Because it looks like the gap is pretty big out here right now in the NFC. They have just been so dominant.
Najee Davenport had to reach high to get it. And Davenport gets it out across the 20. They'll mark him at the 23. The Eagles are on their way to their 11th victory of the year, which would be the 5th year in a row that they've accomplished that. It has happened a few times in history. The Cowboys 2 different times, including with Troy Aikman at the controls from 91 to 95. The other franchise to do it, the San Francisco 49ers. Terrell Owens was a part of that 98 squad from 94 to 98. And the Eagles are on their way. Handoff is to Ahman Green, and Green gets it to the 25, a gain of 2.
I really think the untold story here thus far has been the play of this defense. According to the NFL statistics, the Eagles defensively are ranked 15th. And Troy, I know this is a pet peeve of yours, and yet when you look at the points they've allowed, they are tied with the Baltimore Ravens for the fewest points in the league. So I don't know how you can make a case that that doesn't mean you're the #1 defense in the NFL.
On 2nd down and 8, Favre with time drops it off. Too low for Ahman Green, and there was nothing there anyway.
Well, that's a great point, Chris. In fact, by the ratings that I compile on a weekly basis, they're ranked 4th. And I think too many times we place an emphasis on yards gained, and you're right, that's not the way you should measure whether it's an offense or a defense. And the Eagles do a great job keeping people out of the end zone, sacking the quarterback, creating turnovers, and those should be reflected in how well they're doing as a defensive unit.
They're looking at the ankle of Gray Rugemer, so Scott Wells is now in at center. Snaps it to Favre in the shotgun, and Favre, there's just nowhere to go. He can't throw it anywhere. He can't run it anywhere. The Green Bay offense has been completely shut down by Jim Johnson's defense.
Well, there's just nobody open, but this is not what the Green Bay Packers do offensively. What they do is run the football and play action and boot off of that. And when they are in this type of a situation where they're having to just drop back, throw the ball, get in their spread formation, this just isn't what the Packers do.
Yeah, well, when they were trying to do what they do in the first quarter, the turnovers obviously stopped them, and then Philadelphia being able to capitalize, and the Green Bay Packers not being able to shut down the Eagles offensively. All of a sudden it becomes an entirely different game when you look for Green Bay to try to put together an offensive drive to come away with some kind of points to build on as they go in at halftime. They've been unable to do it.
That was the 2nd Eagles sack of the day, and it brings up 4th down. The Eagles called the timeout, so they're not content with a 28-point lead with 2:15 to go here in this first half.
And I tell you what, I wouldn't count him out either. I mean, even though he has not looked good, and at 28-0, this is still a very explosive offensive football team, and they can score a lot of points in 30 minutes of play.
So the Eagles aren't putting this one in the win column yet by calling the timeout, and Dexter Wynn takes it from inside the 30. Another good return by Wynn. Barker is in his way, and Wynn is still going. Can't stay inbounds long enough to get to the end zone. But with no penalty flags down on the field, they'll mark Wynn at the 32.
I'm not sure you're going to be able to convince this crowd that it's not over. They've already started the na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Hey, 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 goodbye. That may be the earliest in a ball game I've ever heard that cheer.
You know, you come into this game, and it really felt like a heavyweight fight between the two elite teams in the NFC, and the string of wins that the Green Bay Packers are on. And you know, boy, at least here in the first 30 minutes of play, I mean, this has been absolutely a dominant performance by the Philadelphia Eagles.
This will be the final play before the 2-minute warning. McNabb already has 4 touchdown passes. It ties his career high, and it's the 3rd time he's done it in the last 4 weeks. McNabb with all day fires in a wide open Terrell Owens on the other end.
Boy, what a throw that was. There comes a little bit of the bird. That was the one he left off on the touchdown. Woo, laser.
Coming up on the Visa halftime report with JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy. They will reflect on the day across the NFL, and I'm sure they'll talk about what we have witnessed here in the first half, which is a complete thrashing of this Green Bay defense, a defense that allowed 448 yards through the air to St. Louis on Monday night. Already Donovan McNabb has thrown 4 touchdown passes, make it 5. Westbrook.
No way can you get out there with Brian Westbrook with wide receiver skills on a safety and win that battle. That's just too easy.
A 12-yard completion, 5 touchdown passes for Donovan McNabb, and this secondary for Green Bay is lost.
Yeah, you can forget about how are they going to cover Terrell Owens. They can't cover anybody at this point. No matter what they try to do, it has not worked. And Brian Westbrook just runs a slant route, and they put it on him, and it's just like they're out at practice.
295 yards through the air in this first half for Donovan McNabb. And again, a career high 5 touchdown throws. Well, we all look forward to this matchup coming in, but it is lopsided. It is a drubbing here in Philadelphia. Brian Dawkins leading the cheers as he leads this defense to a great first half. The Packers threatened only once. Sheldon Brown came away with an interception with Green Bay knocking on the door, a ball that looked like may not have completely caught before going to the ground. The Packers did not choose to challenge it, even though we gave a couple of different looks to the coaches up in the box at the replay. And from that moment on, it has been Philadelphia the entire way with a 35-0 lead with 1:48 to go. Antonio Chapman now. Akers gets a chance to show off his leg. The touchback. It has been a struggle for Brett Favre. Picked off there by Dawkins. Threw into double coverage here, incomplete. And then here's the interception by Sheldon Brown. He hasn't had time, and even when he's had a little bit of time and some receivers open, he's missed them.
Well, I'm talking to Andy Reid, and you asked him, you say, what do you know from when you worked with Brett Favre on how to try to defense him? He said early in the game, want to get his feet moving, give him some different looks, don't let him get settled in, throwing on rhythm, and that's exactly what Philadelphia's been able to do. They've been able to keep him off balance throughout this first half, and he's made bad throws and bad decisions.
With 1:48 to go, it's another incompletion, and Dawkins getting a mid in there to pound Antonio Chapman at the end of it.
And I think it's interesting when you talk about Philadelphia offensively, how many times do you talk to football people and they say you have to be able to run the football if you're going to win in the National Football League? The Eagles have run the ball 5 times in the first half for 7 yards. They have 302 yards of total offense, which just goes to prove to you that you don't necessarily have to run the ball. You just have to be effective at whatever it is you're trying to do.
Mike Martz just screamed out amen as he's watching back in St. Louis after the Rams victory at home over San Francisco. Javon Walker, one of the few completions for Favre in this half, good for 13 yards and a first down. And it goes without saying that with 3 timeouts remaining, I mean, you still have to try and play. You got to get down the field and get some points if you're Green Bay before half.
Well, this is a big drive. I mean, there's no question that right now when you're looking at 35-0, I mean, you've got some time on the clock, you've got timeouts, and you have to be able to put something together. I think this is a critical drive for Green Bay, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, if they're going to have any chance of getting back into it in the second half.
Doesn't mean I come back out in the second half.
I bet number 4 does.
Pass is incomplete.
Maybe not. He doesn't get a little help somewhere. Oh, Mike. I mean, the hard thing to believe here is that this is a Green Bay Packers team that had been over 400 yards of offense in 5 of the last 6 games, had won 6 games in a row. Their defense was getting better. They were Mike Sherman calling the plays. All of a sudden, things were really looking rosy. And it's almost one of those moments like the Philadelphia Eagles had when they played the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they just got destroyed. But the Eagles bounced back from that game and have been playing even better since.
Second down and 10 with 1:34 to go. And they're going to call Rayburn for interfering with or holding Ahman Green, which will give Green Bay a first down.
Yeah, tough task there. Sam Rayburn dropping off in zone coverage on the zone blitz, and he's responsible for Ahman Green.
5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
You got to call his number, though. He's got to be proud of getting pass interference.
I mean, I would be. Heck,
Yeah.
saying, hey, look, guys, I'm trying to cover Ahman Green.
I got my back pedal. I turned and broke on the football, and it's all good. Here he comes. The return.
I tell you what, Chris, the one difference when you talk about Philadelphia and Pittsburgh game, Pittsburgh's in the AFC, obviously Philadelphia in the NFC. Don't think for a minute what's happened here in this game so far doesn't have a huge impact on both of these teams as they go through the remainder of the season.
1:30 remaining. Favre over the middle of the field. The pass is caught by Driver, and that's right at midfield for another Green Bay first down.
You know, I talked with Dhani Jones, the linebacker for the Eagles this week, and he said, we watched that tape against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we just couldn't believe that it was us. He said, I never, ever want to get physically beaten and humiliated again like we did in that game, and that led to a lot of the changes that have really turned this defense around.
The Eagles were turned around there defensively. They have to spend a timeout with 1:09 remaining in the first half. Jim Johnson, the outstanding defensive coordinator for Philadelphia, one of the top coaches for Andy Reid on this all-star staff, likes to tell his defensive players that it's 11 against 1. And that 1 in this case is Brett Favre. They go after the quarterback. Obviously other considerations and other responsibilities for the defensive players, but they have come at Brett Favre, and Favre has had a rough first half, and it continues. Darwin Walker with help from Simon. And it is 11 against 1 today for the Philadelphia defense.
We saw it last week, and we're seeing it here again today. When you've got Darwin Walker and Corey Simon contributing the way that they are, this is an extremely dangerous defensive football team. Darwin Walker, he's such a big, strong, physical guy, just overpowering this offensive line. That's not something you see against the Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay still with Wells at center. Favre in trouble again. Fires in the direction of Tony Fisher. That'll bring up 3rd and long with 35 seconds to go in this half, and Kearse was slow getting up.
You know, that is the one fear that all these Eagles have. Here they have this dominant team. They have such a role going for themselves right now, and they still have a lot of games left to play. And they're thinking if we can just make it healthy out of the rest of the season and get into the playoffs, we can play with and beat anybody. But they do have to make it out of the rest of the season healthy.
And that's why the loss today by the Atlanta Falcons helped them and maybe being able to rest some guys as they get closer to the end of the year.
Almost like a Hail Mary. The pass is complete. What a catch by Robert Ferguson, juggling the football on his way to the ground, and he hauls it in with a first down and a completion of 31 yards.
That ball, I don't think, got any more than about 10 yards off the ground. Watch this rope. I mean, it just is a laser shot down the field. And even from 40 yards away, Robert Ferguson, it's all he could do to hang on to it.
I'll tell you what, that's a heck of a catch right there by Robert Ferguson, turning around and being able to concentrate with the ball in the air and bringing it in. A big third down conversion there. Now they're in a position for a field goal if they don't get any more yards.
Green Bay with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Favre slings it incomplete. He threw low to Javon Walker with Michael Lewis ending up with a hit on Walker, and Walker is now slow to get up, and he's not getting up.
I think, Joe, that's the big thing right now that we're seeing from Brett Favre, that, you know, he's always been a guy who's forced some balls into some coverage and has taken some chances, but today we're not seeing him complete passes that are relatively easy throws for him.
So they look at Javon Walker, a top weapon for Brett Favre, injured. They are starved here in Philadelphia for a championship. The last one for this city in the 4 major sports. The Philadelphia 76ers back in 1983. The Eagles won the NFL championship 3 different times. They were in the Super Bowl once when they lost to Oakland in Super Bowl 15, 27-10, and all signs point toward another journey through Philadelphia in the NFC if you want to get to Jacksonville in the Super Bowl. And with the way the Eagles have come out playing and the fun they're having on the sideline, the confidence they have offensively and defensively, there's nobody better than this Philadelphia team in the NFC, and it doesn't even look like there's anyone close. 2nd down and 10. Javon Kearse is back in the lineup for the Eagles. 2 timeouts left for Green Bay. Toward the end zone, a flag. Robert Ferguson, the intended receiver. And it was Dawkins, the safety, over to help on the coverage, and he drew the flag.
Yeah, they brought the double corner blitz that time, and it just shows you the mentality of Jim Johnson defensively.
Contact, defense, number 20. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Green Bay hits the big pass on 3rd down, gets them down in scoring position. Jim Johnson immediately dials up a blitz. They run the out and up. Good call by Mike Sherman. Brian Dawkins expecting the ball to come out quick. They pump it, throw it up the sideline, and that's why they were able to draw the penalty.
So 17 seconds remain. Green Bay with 2 timeouts left, just trying to get on the board. Over the middle, and that's over everybody. Brett Favre let a fastball fly, and with Chapman the closest one to it, that'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
And on that last play, I thought the Packers got a bad break, because if they call pass interference on that play instead of illegal contact, the ball's going to go on the 5-yard line. And Dawkins rode him pretty hard coming out of that double move, and they gave him the illegal contact instead of the pass interference. Of course, it's determined by when the ball is released by the quarterback.
Looked like the ball was in the air. You saw Javon Walker back in the lineup, injured his hip. And the snap is over the head of Favre. A lucky bounce right back into his arms. Favre fires for the end zone. Incomplete. Walker, the intended receiver, with Lito Shepherd on the coverage. And really, remember, Scott Wellstroy is in at center, and he snapped it over the head of Favre.
Boy, I'll say about 10 yards over his head. Brett does a good job of just keeping that play alive, and he had a chance. I mean, it was a good play by Lito Shepherd, because Javon Walker was open, but because Brett had pressure in his face, he just couldn't get enough on it to get the ball there in time before Lito Shepherd broke it up.
And because that play took 11 seconds off the clock with 6 seconds to go, the Green Bay Packers trot out Longwell to try a 40-yarder. Longwell has had a great year, and if nothing else, the Green Bay Packers are able to get on the board before the end of the half. But this crowd in Philly fashion groaning and booing that the shutout is gone at 35-3. 2 seconds left in this first half.
You know, Joe, and I think when we talk about Green Bay and and what's happened here in the first half in Philadelphia and how dominant they've been within their conference. And you know, this definitely has an impact on Green Bay, because if you talk to them, they certainly understand that in order for them to realize their dreams coming into this season of going to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to come back here through Philadelphia. And when you've gotten beat, and we're assuming that, you know, Green Bay can certainly come back here in the second half and play much better, but at least up to this point, they're thinking, oh no, you know, and if they do have to meet up again, they'll remember what's happened here in this game.
Well, what's so amazing is that this is a Green Bay offense that simply ran over the Philadelphia Eagles a season ago. They got the running game going. They could do their play action, over 200 yards rushing in each of those games, but they didn't convert. And Brett Favre talked to us about, we can't make mistakes in this game like we did in the game last year, because this Eagles offense is just too good. They'll make us pay for it. Boy, how prophetic that was.
Been smacked in this first half as Longwell squibs it. And that will be, as Lewis returns it for Philadelphia, the final play of what was a long first half for Green Bay and what was a tremendous and exciting, a fun first half for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles on their way to 11-1, carrying that 35-3 lead. Kickoff. We look at the latest in fantasy stats, and if you want them, you can log on to foxsports.com. Donovan McNabb, 303 yards. It's the fifth, and something we talked about, guys. I think, Troy, you touched on it. Only 7 rushing yards for the Philadelphia Eagles in the first half. Who cares? 35 points and a 35-3 lead. A big hit on J.R. Reed is made by William Henderson, the veteran on special teams. And let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, I asked Mike Sherman at halftime, how do you get back in this ball game? He said, we have been in some tough situations all season. This is about as tough as it gets, but we have to keep fighting. Meanwhile, Andy Reid told me very happy with the pressure that the defensive line was able to generate in the first half. We're talking 3 sacks, 3 knockdowns, and a bunch of hurries on Brett Favre. He says that Favre is the king of the comeback, though, and we've got to keep that pressure going. Back to you.
And the big key is Green Bay's got to be able to stop Philadelphia right here. You cannot allow them, whether they score points or not, you just can't allow them to sustain drives and take time off the clock.
Blitz coming from Green Bay. The Eagles pick it up, and Freddie Mitchell's wide open. His first catch of the day, putting the belt on Freddie.
There we go. No. We had the people's champ, and then you saw him look at his watch, which is to say, it's about time you threw one to me. That's the new one he has.
I tell you, if he keeps getting open like that, he'll get a lot more thrown his way.
Oh, everybody's open out here today. Who's not open? Pull somebody out of the stands. Give them a chance.
Freddie Mitchell run right up the seam, uncontested. Nobody over him to try to redirect his route. Just easy pickings.
It was not 28 yards on the catch as it was last January, but 30 on that reception. As the pass is behind L.J. Smith, he adjusts to it. Is knocked out of bounds by Sharper with another Philadelphia first down.
You know what's so impressive now is to watch Donovan McNabb as he surveys the field. We were watching the tape of last week's game a little bit, and the number of times that you see him going from one side of the field to the other, from the middle of the field to the guy at the swing position. It is something that he has developed, and it's sort of comes slowly, and you don't always notice it right away, but he is taking everything that the defense gives you right now, a la Peyton Manning, the way that he's doing it.
Only 4 incomplete passes all day. Troy Amos impressed with the catches that some of these guys are making. For Donovan McNabb. McNabb is sandwiched as he lets it go, and he completes it to Owens. McNabb ends up on the ground. Owens ends up with a 21-yard reception. And the Eagles are down knocking on the door again with a ball just outside the 11.
Yeah, and right now, if you're Andy Reid, this is what you've got to be a little bit concerned about. Donovan McNabb hanging in there, but he gets hit by 2 guys on each side of him. But again, Terrell Owens and just getting lost in zone as this Packers secondary. We've seen it over and over throughout this game. The secondary, whether they're in man coverage or in zone, just getting lost.
But the timing was there again. He threw that ball well before Owens came out of the break. He's getting very sophisticated as a quarterback.
Donovan McNabb is wrestled down. Grady Jackson And that for Grady will be his first sack of the season.
I think when you go back and you talk about Donovan McNabb and the season that he has, really it started last year in the Monday night game against Miami is when he really elevated his play and brought the team back, and they won. And he's been playing at a very high level since that time. But obviously with Terrell Owens coming to the team and the start that they had from week 1 against the Giants, this has been a team and a quarterback that's been playing with tremendous confidence. And it's amazing how well you play when you're not out there thinking all the time.
Westbrook with a penalty flag on the play. Westbrook gets it down just inside the 10. Some more interesting scores coming across with Washington pounding on the Giants, and San Diego is doing it again. They can open up a 2-game lead in the AFC West as they're beating Denver.
What was that Washington score?
Personal foul. Illegal hands to the face, a blow to the head, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Al Harris was defending against Terrell Owens.
And obviously a lot of guys frustrated, and they're going after each other right now. Al Harris really took this as a very personal challenge. He looked forward to the matchup against Owens, but obviously today no contest for any of these Packers defenders.
There's your Washington score, 24-7. They're already in the fourth quarter there.
And I think that's the first time this season that Washington scored more than 20 points, right?
And they're doing it against a Giants team that a month ago was rolling and looking to be in good position in the NFC, trying to get a playoff spot, and now they are sliding away with Eli Manning as their quarterback. Pass is incomplete, and Al Harris ends up shouting into the face of Terrell Owens at the end of that play.
Well, and you've got to believe that somewhere, and I know the Atlanta Falcons got beat today, but somewhere Ed Donatell's got to be smiling just a little bit. You know, made out to be the scapegoat in what happened in last year's divisional playoff loss. And a lot of things were addressed. They thought they were better defensively, and to come in here against Philadelphia and just basically not even have shown up to this point.
Second down and goal. Owens already has 1 touchdown today, 14 on the year. A handoff is to Westbrook, and he is brought down at the 5. The first guy to hit him was Nick Barnett.
Well, I think for the Green Bay Packers, it's a point of pride time now. I mean, they really need something. You're probably not going to win the game, obviously, but you need to show a little fight, because eventually you are going to see these two teams in all likelihood matched up again. And the one guy that has continued to fight throughout this game is Al Harris. He doesn't care what Owens thinks. He doesn't care if they throw a flag. He's taking shots as just a point of pride at this point.
That was not from the penalty. That's the second time he's done that on this drive. Second time in the last 3 plays. Blitz coming, and the pass incomplete with Cledius Hunt in the face of Donovan McNabb. And if nothing else, the Green Bay defense stiffened and did not let McNabb get his 6th touchdown pass of the day.
Yeah, and Donovan McNabb, he's coming off the field pretty disappointed that they didn't get a touchdown on that drive, but a nice job by them offensively, being able to take this second half possession and move the ball down, come away with a field goal opportunity, and in doing so taking time off the clock.
I don't think Terrell Owens can believe that Al Harris is talking this much trash. Down 35-3, 38-3 now.
Akers is good from 23, and Al Harris has been talking here at the start of the second half to T.O., but the Eagles are the ones that are doing the talking with their play, up by 35. 8-3 lead over the Green Bay Packers. Terrell Owens mixing it up with Al Harris during that last possession as Akers kicks it away. This one will be returned by Ferguson. He keeps it as they fake the reverse, and Ferguson, we've seen them do this before, gets it out across the 30. Knocked down at the 32 after that last possession. First possession of this second half for Green Bay. Trailing by 35 off the hands of Driver, and then nearly picked off by Brian Dawkins. Sheldon Brown on the coverage.
I just couldn't help but notice that time on the cable camera that we have from behind, the seat of Brett or Brett Favre's pants are all dirty. I don't think they've been dirty all season long. It's just not a good sign. It's remarkable that this guy has stayed on his feet the way that he has this entire season and now get knocked around in this one.
They toss to Green running left, and Green is wrapped up in the backfield. Kearse, Trotter, Jeremiah Trotter on the stop, a loss of 5, and down to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, the Packers starting weak side linebacker Niall Diggs has been out of the game since the second quarter. At first, the Packers thought that Diggs had a rib injury. Now they've amended that to something a bit more serious. Diggs has a bruised kidney. I was back in the tunnel as they were loading him up in an ambulance to take him to a local hospital.
Okay, Pam, thanks for the report. Bad news for Niall Diggs and for the Packers. He's been one of their best defensive players. The pass is complete to Walker on 3rd down. Walker is up to the 35, but he is 7 yards shy of a first down.
What's really remarkable about what this Eagles defense is doing out here, since Mike Sherman took over the play calling 6 games ago, they have been averaging 34 points a game and 439 yards of offense, and they look like a college team in here trying to play against the Philadelphia Eagles today. This is one of the best offenses in the NFL.
Well, at the end of the day, the Philadelphia Eagles will be all alone at the top of the NFL in points per game allowed. They came in at 14.9, tied with Baltimore. Donovan McNabb has thrown for 366 yards today. His career high is 390. So he is well on his way to blowing that mark up as he plays here in the 3rd quarter. Hunt got a hand on Donovan McNabb, and they're going to throw a flag. Chad Lewis, the intended receiver, and Hannibal Navies is the one that comes out of there complaining to the official.
Yeah, Hannibal Navies comes out complaining that Chad Lewis was hanging on to him.
Holding, defense, number 50, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
We're going to see Chad Lewis at the tight end position coming off, and Hannibal Navies picks him up, and well after the 5 yards. Pretty obvious call for the officials. And, Chad Lewis has really done a good job within this offense. We've talked about it before, and what a big part he was in about 2000, 2001. Then his opportunities decreased. And here this year, he's become another focal point of this offense, much more than what L.J. Smith has been.
Toss to Westbrook, running left. Has a lane, has a first down for Philadelphia. So the Eagles still going, and so is JB with a game break. Redskins, Giants.
All right, Joe Buck, I'm sure Washington fans can't believe it. They have scored and scored big. Patrick Ramsey hooking up with Chris Cooley, the H-back. Ramsey, 19 of 22, 174 yards, 3 touchdowns, 31-7 skins. Hey, Chris, do they talk enough about your great days as a quarterback as well?
We may get to that here soon, JB.
Give us about another half a quarter here.
On first down, McNabb is going to air it out. And incomplete. Pinkston, the intended receiver. With all the talk about Terrell Owens, Pinkston came into this game 4th in the NFL in yards per catch. He's been a nice second wide receiver for Donovan McNabb to look to this season.
Well, he really has, Joe, and you think back to last year, and he was the only receiver that had a 100-yard reception game for this team. And then you talk about what the difference is when Terrell Owens comes in, and Terrell Owens already has 100 yards today. He's got 7 on the season. Todd Pinkston has 2 100-yard games, and then Brian Westbrook has 1 day. So all in all, they've had 10 100-yard receivers this season compared to only 1 last year.
McNabb is hit as he gets the pass away on the screen to Westbrook. And Nick Barnett, you're losing 38-3, Nick.
Good idea. Wow. The one thing that is coming out of this, though, you have a very frustrated Green Bay Packers defensive team. They've been humiliated, no question about it. The Eagles are going to win the football game, but you also now have your star players taking some shots out there. You've got McNabb, we've got Westbrook, we've got T.O., we have guys that are going to give this team a chance to win a world championship. And at some point, you have to begin to wonder, when is enough for Andy Reid?
Philadelphia uses a timeout. Maybe they want to hear more from Nick Barnett. 38-3. Today/tonight will have a 2-game lead in their race with the Atlanta Falcons for home field advantage as we march toward the playoffs in the NFC. On the other side, the NFC North is getting more bunched up because of today's activity. Owens, what a catch. Perfect throw as McNabb dropped it in, and Terrell Owens is down to the 25. 45 more yards, Chris.
Poor Michael Hawthorne. I mean, that was just a flat-out foot race, and until you've actually been on the field with Terrell Owens, you don't think of him as being that fast a guy. But he just took off running, really not much of a move to speak of, and outran Hawthorne by 3 or 4 yards on the play.
I tell you, Hawthorne needs to start watching some film. I mean, he knows that this is the best receiver in the National Football League, and yet he's still trying to come up on him, and he lets him run by him. And it's gotten to the point where it's just embarrassing for this Packers defense and allowing these guys to run open like that.
Career high 407 yards through the air for Donovan McNabb as Westbrook takes it over the right side. And what do we want to talk about? You want to talk about the NFC North? You want to talk about some of these records that they're putting up and what Chris said, getting guys out of the game?
Well, that was what I was going to say, was they got to get these guys out of the game. When you're talking about Brian Westbrook and how much they missed him in postseason play last year, why is he in the game? Why is Donovan McNabb in the game? And why are some of the, you can even say the same thing about some of these Green Bay Packers. I mean, this is a game that's pretty much over here with 7 minutes left in the third quarter.
I think the Packers defensively would vote with you.
One guy who's not in the game is Bao Zhu, who's out with a concussion. Told you that Diggs is out as McNabb fires off the arms of Dorsey Levens.
Not only are they still in the game, but they're still throwing the ball.
That's all they know how to do.
Wow.
How about all the key injuries today? Zhu is out with the concussion. Kidney injury for Niall Diggs. Rugemer left with an ankle injury. Nate Wayne re-injured that hamstring. And Derek Burgess has been bothered by a rib injury. That hit him last week in their win over the Giants, and he aggravated it here today. 3rd down and 12. Andy Reid would never forgive himself if somebody got injured, with the score being what it is, and the Eagles playing the way they're playing. Mitchell, Owens, and Owens out of his reach. Freddie Mitchell's a beauty, man. Mitchell is putting on a show, pleading with McNabb to look his way as he had his defender beat. He had his arm up, running down the field, and then when he doesn't get the ball, he pops up looking back at McNabb.
Yeah, and Andy doesn't like this, and the other guy that doesn't like it is Donovan McNabb. No quarterback likes when you've got a receiver saying, hey, how about me? You know, I mean, there are some other guys out there on the field, but, you know, hey, Fred X, he delivers.
45-yard try for Akers, and he drills it. Maybe that will mark the end of the day for some of these Eagles stars who have put up 41 points on the Green Bay defense, 41-3. You're watching Fox Sports, broadcasting the world's finest high-definition standard. And we just saw Freddie Mitchell salute the crowd. Thumbs up. Freddie has a catch today. And
well, that's his people. You got to understand, you know, I mean, the people's champs got to wave to the people.
How about that? That is in jeopardy.
Which do Staley tell us? How can you be the people's champ if you're not pleasing the people?
36 consecutive games with a touchdown throw for Favre. See if the offense for Green Bay can figure something out. This is Ferguson. They'll give Green Bay a good starting point. He's a good kick returner. He gets it out across the 40, and they'll mark him at the 43. Next week, the NFL on Fox. What will the games be? Seattle at Minnesota. We'll be there for that matchup. And the Vikings and the Packers, it appears, will stay tied, although the Packers have that tiebreaker over Minnesota. The top of the NFC North with records of 7-5, but heck, Chicago's not out of it. Detroit's not out of it. It's a big game for Detroit next week.
We definitely have to take 6 teams to the playoffs, right? No matter what.
Yes.
And they all have to be from the NFC. I mean,
right. So we can't take any of those good teams from the AFC.
Like Buffalo. Buffalo cannot qualify for the NFC playoffs.
I got you. Or the Ravens, maybe, or any of those teams.
How about your Bengals?
That's the team that should be in there.
24 points in the 4th quarter against the Baltimore defense, winning the game over the Ravens on a last-second field goal, 27-26. Blitz coming. Favre avoids it and then throws it away. Javon Walker, the closest to it. Michael Lewis came on a blitz and got pressure on Favre. It's 3rd and 6. Early game headliners. We showed you some. Here's some more.
I like that, though, Joe. They weren't Chris's Bengals until last year. I mean, up until that, they were someone else's team.
No,
right?
that's not true. Last week it was actually what it was.
Well, there are some of the highlights. Carson Palmer, 3 touchdowns as he gets better and better week after week. Curtis Martin. We'll see the Jets in a couple of weekends as they host Seattle. And the right tackle Tauscher false started.
Did you ever play in a game like this where it was
Full
just
start, 65, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
I played against Alabama once when we were at the University of Florida, and we would sit collectively as an offense over on the bench and just watch the scoreboard. And as soon as they put another 7 up, we got our helmets and went back on the field. I mean, it was just that easy, and it didn't take long either.
Well, it happened much later for me. In '98, we played Denver and John Elway, and they scored the first 8 times they had the ball, touchdowns. It was 48-0. That's fun.
3rd down and 11. Shovel pass to Fisher, and he is knocked by Keith Adams, who's been playing more and more. A guy who was waived by Dallas 2 seasons ago. Good special teams player, now finding his way onto the field defensively for Jim Johnson.
They had so many guys now that can play on this team. Ike Reese had to step in at linebacker. They get Hugh Douglas back. Sam Rayburn came out of absolutely nowhere. And the frightening thing is this team has a ton of draft choices for next season. Jeffrey Lurie was saying they might actually have to trade some of those away because they don't have enough spots for all the players they're going to get.
Win with a fair catch after a 36-yard punt. Look at the history in this city. The Eagles won the NFL championship back in 1960 over Pat Riley and the Lakers. And Andy Reid with the owner of this franchise, Jeffrey Lurie. They're in a great position not only now but for years to come. Managing the cap brilliantly. Tom Heckert doing a great job filling in with free agents. We talked about they don't get tricked into signing popular players into long-term contracts when they're on the playing the back nine, so to speak. They let them get away. They cut them and they
bring them back.
Well, they end up bringing them back.
They come back.
Whether it's Trotter or
Hugh Douglas,
but they also draft so well. Joe Banner, the president with this Philadelphia franchise. I mean, they do everything better than anybody else going in the league right now.
Well, I think you said it best, Joe. They've positioned themselves to sustain this for a long, long time.
They have a new stadium. It's one of the crown jewels in the NFL. It's 2nd down and 9, and McNabb ends up to the ground again. Campman on the pressure. L.J. Smith was the intended receiver, and again, they're still out there.
You know, and every time you see your quarterback driven into the ground, and there's your franchise, there's your shot at the Super Bowl this season, where it looks like almost a walk-in to the Super Bowl for the Eagles, landing on the shoulder, and you see all the time guys get separated shoulders. I don't know.
Well, it makes no sense. I mean, whether he comes out of this game healthy or not, it just makes no sense. I mean, part of the reason that they're positioned to be able to sustain this for so long is because Donovan McNabb is going to be their quarterback, and that's the only hope that they have of going all the way this year and winning the Super Bowl.
A blitz coming. McNabb. Westbrook. His huge day continues. Roman ends up bringing Westbrook down. And half of my attention with Westbrook running in the open field was on McNabb, who got hit around the knees and ended up back on his backside after getting rid of the pass.
Yeah, and he looks shook up. I mean, take a look at the hit that he takes down low. That's dangerous. I mean, that's a dangerous shot right there. And, you know, this is when tempers start to flare when you're the Green Bay Packers and you've got 41 points, and yet you're still throwing the football. Westbrook, as I've already said, in my opinion, shouldn't be in the game. Donovan McNabb certainly shouldn't. Wow. They should get some of these backup players in there and get them some experience, start running the football.
Well, and that's really the key. Coy Detmer, should something happen to McNabb in the playoffs, really has no experience whatsoever from this season. Why not give him a little time running this offense just in case something does happen?
Yeah, in fact, Coy Detmer, he's got 79 passes that he's thrown in the last 4 years. I mean, that tells you how little he has played. This would be a great opportunity for him to get in the game and get some experience, whether that's throwing the football or just handing it off. But, well, I don't know about this. I would have to believe that this will be the last possession with these guys in the lineup.
2nd down and 11 after Levin's lost a yard on that last play. They're still going for it. Lewis out of his reach. Maybe Andy Reid. Well, we'll save that for a moment and check in with JB for a game break. JB?
Hey, Joe Buck, that was out of his reach, but take a look at Tom Brady and the Patriots continuing to roll. 5th straight win. Brady, as always, doing what he had to do. 44-yard touchdown strike to David Patton. They spanked Cleveland today, 42-15. Back to Joe Buck.
All right, JB, I was just going to say maybe Andy Reid is actually wearing the tights, the spandex tights, under his pants right now, and he's waiting for the 15th touchdown from Terrell Owens to just rip those pants off and show off the legs. 3rd down and 11. Westbrook out of the backfield, wrapped up by Barnett. Barnett's yapping at the sideline. He's still talking. He pops up and yells at the Eagles. At least a bunch of guys standing there in Eagles coats.
Well, you know, the other thing that's kind of interesting here is that Mike Sherman and Andy Reid are really best of friends, and at some point it begins to be rubbing a little salt in the wound here, and I'm sure that it's not feeling very good on the other side of the sideline.
They're going to try a 47-yarder from Akers. Having a Pro Bowl type season is David Akers. The line drive kick is plenty good. It was well long and right through the uprights to make it 44-3. Well, we keep referring to this as if everybody knows what we're talking about. We talked about it last week when we were at the Meadowlands watching the Eagles and the Giants, that Andy Reid told Terrell Owens to put some shorts over his spandex tights in training camp, and then he made the bet that if you get 15 touchdowns this season, receiving touchdowns, I'll wear the tights. And he has 1 today and 14 on the year, and that's our best guess as to what Andy will look like in the tights.
Has there ever been a better reason to buy an HD set than that right there? So you could get the full example of what Andy Reid would look like in that simulation there.
Well, and Terrell Owens, he did get a touchdown today to get it to 14, but Andy was quick to read it, or quick to tell us that he does call the plays. I mean, he can call some things to try to keep Terrell from getting that 15th touchdown. But you know that if he does get it, you know that Andy's going to put on the tights.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about that.
No doubt he'll do it.
I've read where Terrell Owens says, well, we'll see if Andy holds up his end of the bargain. There is no doubt that if, and I guess these days when it happens, Andy Reid will hold up his end of the bet.
Well, his wife Tammy asked him, how come you didn't tell him he had to score 20 touchdowns? And he said, well, 15's a lot.
Ferguson, he's been doing this all night long. And he gets it out to the 21, and a penalty flag comes in at the end of that return.
And you get the idea that Tammy said that because she's seen her husband in tights.
That ain't right.
Jason Short was downfield to make the tackle.
That's a good point.
Illegal block in the black. Receiving team, number 48. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Tonight on Fox and an all-new Simpsons, Sex and the City's Kim Cattrall steams up the men of Springfield. Then it's the all-new Arrested Development. If you haven't seen that, you should. And my big, fat, obnoxious boss as the most humiliating sales challenge yet. It all starts next. The new Malcolm, except on the West Coast, right here on Fox.
Kim Cattrall has that kind of impact on cartoon characters, too.
Evidently.
That's good.
Pass is complete. What a throw and catch with Ferguson on the receiving end. Sheldon Brown defending and a gain of 14.
And I tell you, I know we've focused a lot on the Philadelphia Eagles, and rightfully so, but you know, when you look at these receivers, whether it's Robert Ferguson or Javon Walker and Donald Driver, these guys have exceptional hands. I mean, when you consider some of the balls that Brett Favre throws at them, you know, these things are coming at them 50, 60 miles an hour, and they just pluck them right out of the air, and they've been doing it all year.
Chris, I think you brought up a good point. I just watched Robert Ferguson trot off the field screaming back in the Eagles defensive huddle. There's no doubt that while they're getting embarrassed over on that sideline, the tempers are starting to flare and something could happen before the end of this game.
And you just don't want to see one of your star players get lost for the rest of the season based on some cheap shot. And I still say the Packers are a dangerous team for these Eagles, but they're going to have to play their style of game and be in the game early in order to take advantage of what they do best, which is run the football.
Ahman Green had it, lost it, got back on top of it, and lost 4 at the end of that play.
Well, and Joe, and how about Green Bay? I mean, you got Ahman Green, who's playing with fractured ribs, for crying out loud. You got Brett Favre, who's still out there. I mean, the same argument that we're using against Philadelphia as to why those players shouldn't be playing, the same thing holds true as to why are the Packers still playing some of their premier players at a point like this in the game.
It's a great point about Green with that fractured rib. It's 3rd down and 11. Favre flushed out, throws, and Javon Walker makes the catch, but he's wrestled out by Lito Shepherd, well shy of first down yardage, short by 5 yards.
You know, I really just think that everybody talked about Terrell Owens and the fact that Javon Kearse was coming to this football team. But what was really missed was that this was a very unhealthy football team in the playoffs last year, a team that was a shell of the team that we had seen during the regular season because of injuries. So now not only did you get the 2 best free agents that were on the market, you got all those guys coming back healthy that were injured a season ago. And it has just been electric, the net result of that.
Dexter Wynn with a fair catch. Coy Detmer had his helmet on along the sideline. We'll see if he comes out with 17 seconds remaining in this 3rd quarter. And if the night is officially over for Terrell Owens, Donovan McNabb, Brian Westbrook, it should be, although Westbrook's going back out in the huddle, and so's McNabb.
Wow.
Unbelievable. The NFC playoff picture. The Eagles are cruising on their way to 11-1. They'll have a 2-game lead over Atlanta. Race for home field advantage. Wild card leaders, but all those teams on the far right, the Giants, the Panthers, the Lions, the Bucks, the Bears, all still have a shot. Stunning that these guys are still in the lineup, and I know we're beating a dead horse. And we keep repeating it, but I know that Andy Reid would not forgive himself if one of these guys went down at this point. It's an end around to Greg Lewis, and he is hit and wrestled down by Hawthorne.
And that is the kind of tackle you're going to get for the rest of the night. As long as they leave those starters in, you're going to see guys around the neck, slinging them to the ground, trying to drive them into the ground. What are they going to do? Get a penalty and screw up this score?
It's 44-3 at the end of 3. Thrown by Brett Favre is only 14 of 29 for 131 yards, and that consecutive games with a touchdown throw streak is in jeopardy. It's up to 36, 11 shy of the all-time NFL record set by Johnny Unitas at 47. As they hand off to Dorsey Levens, the former Packer. Al Harris shoves him out, and Dorsey Levens is going to be out of bounds. They're going to mark him at the 28. A 45-yard run from Levens.
You know, and I really think if the Eagles put one more touchdown on the board, that their BCS computer rankings are going to go way up.
Maybe that's what's happening.
I think it'll really help them in the polls this week.
Well, that time they just ran the ball, and you know, you can't ask them to just take a knee at this stage of the game either. So,
you know, and it is. I'm happy for a guy like Dorsey Levens, who's come here and done the dirty work and become the fullback, and he's fighting his way through it. And actually, if they keep running the ball, I've got a chance.
Just stop right there. Westbrook on the carry. He gets 4 right up the middle. So Westbrook's still running it. Mitchell comes in, and on 2nd down, they bring in more of the receiver package for the Philadelphia Eagles with Westbrook joining Pinkston, Terrell Owens, Freddie Mitchell, and Greg Lewis. So how about a 4 wide receiver set for the Eagles? And they hand to Westbrook. So they spread them out, they run the ball, and a penalty flag comes in. 2 of them. And for good measure, one of the officials rifles the flag all the way back from the end zone into the middle of that pile. And it looks to be a face mask against Green Bay.
Personal foul, face mask, number 97 defense. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
They don't care. That's where I think the real danger is right now, because obviously the rules of the game aren't really coming into play, and you're frustrated and you are willing to do just about anything out there on the field right now.
Westbrook stays in, and it'll be first and goal from just inside the 10. San Diego hanging on to a 3-point lead over Denver. Kansas City now leading at Oakland by 7. Some of the other finals from earlier in the day. McNabb gets hit from behind by Campman, and McNabb is brought down back near the 11, a loss of 2 and a sack for Aaron Campman. He has 4.5 on the year.
And Donovan has been getting hit, Joe. I mean, we've pointed that out. It's not like he's still in the game at this late of stage in the fourth quarter and not getting hit. I mean, he's dropping back and making the throws, but he's getting put on the ground, and some of them have been pretty big. I mean, you take a look there at the knockdowns that he's had. Of course, 4 sacks and 8 knockdowns. And
Westbrook, the tailback, with Perry in front of him, and Westbrook gets it. And another good play by Campman, who just came up with a sack, a loss of 2.
Yeah, the one interesting thing that's come out of this, though, has been the play of these 2 young guards. Steve Shulo and Alonzo Ephraim have really picked up the slack. They are essentially the 4th and 5th guards for this football team this year, and they come in here. Ephraim, not even a guard, he plays center, and it really filled in pretty nicely today. That's has to be pretty satisfying for everybody on this Eagles staff.
Jermaine Mayberry on the left, Artis Hicks on the right, the 2 injured starting guards. Shulo, who played with Indianapolis, saying, I've already blown 1 chance to play in this league, as Terrell Owens is fighting his way. He gets it down to the 4, and that will bring up 4th down. And the field goal unit will come on the field for Philadelphia, with this crowd begging the Eagles to go for it.
Yeah, this crowd is loving it. I mean, there's been nobody that has left because of this blowout. Normally you'll see some fans start heading to the parking lot, but nobody's left here today.
Andy Reid can't believe how inept his offense has been in the second half.
Yeah, just nothing but field goals.
A bad day. Have something to coach him up on now.
22-yard try here for Akers. This is as close to automatic as it gets. 3 more points. It's 47-3. 47-3 Philadelphia with 11:16 left. Lemony Snicket's a series of unfortunate events is a way to describe the day for the Green Bay Packers. And whether it's been offensively, defensively, any phase of the game, the Packers have been thoroughly frustrated. The Eagles are racking up one record after another, setting career highs, breaking franchise marks, a penalty flag and an offside on this kickoff. And Robert Ferguson weaves his way out to the 30-yard line, and the Packers can tack 5 yards onto the end of that or make the Eagles re-kick. So that decision is being made, and Craig Nall is waiting to come in. If that happens, that means that Brett Favre.
Offsides, kicking team, number 31. 5-yard penalty on the end of the run, first down.
And Nall will come in, so the streak for Favre with touchdown passes in 36 consecutive games will end here today in Philadelphia.
$120.90.
I'll just put it on the credit card.
But those rates.
Don't worry. I'll just put it on our Capital One Prime Lock card.
Introducing the new Capital One Prime Lock card. It's set at Prime so you never have to worry about your interest rate again.
What's in your wallet?
Hello, Moto.
It's the fajita grilled stuffed burrito from Taco Bell, loaded with authentic carne asada steak and grilled fajita vegetables, all wrapped in a flour tortilla and grilled to go.
Ooh, fajitas.
For sizzling fajita taste, think outside the bun.
This holiday, discover the magic at Radio Shack. For games on the go, it's our Game Boy Advance SP Value Pack, only $129.99. And for games at home, there's our GameCube Value Pack. It's only $149.99. Radio Shack has your child's first laptop, like the Barbie Bilingual Laptop, just $59.99. Or the VTech Bilingual Laptop, only $79.99. Great gifts right in your neighborhood.
Only at Radio Shack.
This game did not live up to its billing. 47-3, Philadelphia on top. And Craig Nall, who this season is 8 for 9 for 88 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions, takes over for Brett Favre. Nall with a fake toss and a completion to Javon Walker, and that's the way his night begins. And we know that there's a new audience that's joining our game here at this moment. Do you want to be the one to tell them what's happened up to this point?
Well, I think they can see by the score. But, you know, I think if you're Green Bay, obviously Philadelphia's just dominated this game. And if you're Green Bay, you've really got to kind of approach it the way that you did when you got beat by Tennessee and just say, hey, it's one of those games. Hopefully they can string together a bunch of wins again, Chris.
Yeah, and, you know, from Brett Favre's standpoint,
as this one is aired out for Walker, penalty flag, now 2. They're going to call an interference down at the end of it. There was also a flag back at the 31.
I was just going to say, from Brett Favre's standpoint, you always hear him say, statistics mean nothing to me. I don't care how many touchdown passes. I only care about wins and losses. Well, obviously, this is one of the most prestigious streaks in the National Football League, consecutive games with a touchdown pass. And Brett Favre is saying, I'm putting the good of my team ahead of that individual record. I'm sitting out the rest of the way.
Fouls on the play. Illegal contact. Number 29. That penalty is declined. Interference. Defense. Number 21. First down.
So they get Matt Ware, an extra defensive back on the pass interference. Finish your point, Chris. I mean, if he wanted to stay in and try to get the next touchdown throw and make it 37 straight, I'm sure he could make that call.
And I guarantee you Brett Favre would have the right to get off the bench right now and throw 3 times into the end zone and try and keep it extended.
Take a look at some of the highlights, and only some. Donovan McNabb to Terrell Owens, a 41-yard touchdown hookup. Great run after the catch, and then Westbrook, his first of 2. This one good for 41 yards. Donovan McNabb with 5 touchdown passes in this game. To start the afternoon, 14 straight completions. That is a team record. He's thrown for 464 yards today. Nall fires and out of the reach of Javon Walker.
You know, Joe, and I think if you look at Green Bay and as they get through this ball game and as they move forward, you know, if they're going to be able to do anything, if they're going to go on and win their division, if they're going to get into the playoffs, they have got to shore up the problems that they've got in this secondary. I mean, they've had some real problems all season long back there, and they're very, very young. And you kind of got to go back and think that, you know, maybe they should have paid Mike McKenzie. Maybe he would have made a difference had he have still been on this football team, because that's a real weak spot of this club's.
3rd down and goal. Nall over the middle, and the pass is incomplete. Wide open was Donald Driver, and he could not make the catch to get the Packers into the end zone for the first time today.
And the reason that I say that, Joe, is because when you go into the playoffs and as you get into some of these bigger games, you're going to be facing teams that can score points. And more importantly, you're going to be facing teams that can throw the football. And so you've got to be able to shut them down. You just can't let teams come in and throw the ball the way the Eagles have today, the way the Rams did last week, even though they were fortunate enough to win, or the Colts earlier in the season.
On 4th down and goal, the pass for Franks, and they'll throw a flag for interference.
And they got a defensive lineman, Jamal Green, on him.
Well, Jamal was not playing the ball.
You know, I can't believe Jamal didn't get his head around. You know, Jamal, you got to know you got to get your head around or the interference is going to be called.
Defense, number 65, in the end zone. Ball will be placed on the 1-yard line. First down.
I tell you, Jim Johnson's given us some good looks over the years, but this is about as good as I've seen when you put Jamal Green, your defensive tackle, on their big red zone weapon, Bubba Franks.
This is like him in the laboratory, like you figuring out your ratings and all that stuff that you got going on during the week, just trying stuff out.
How many hours a week you spend on that thing?
Too much.
First and goal, Najee Davenport. The Green Bay Packers still have been held out of the end zone, and a penalty flag is on the ground in the back of the end zone.
Men against the defense. Half the distance to the goal, still first down.
That's the latest trick tried by Jim Johnson. Get another guy out there. How about that? The Eagles defensively have not allowed a touchdown in the last 12 quarters.
That's why when you talk about teams that move the ball between the 20s, I mean, the one area where Philadelphia's been awfully good, regardless of how teams have run the ball against them, they've done a great job down here, and that's why they lead the league in scoring defense.
Handoff is to Davenport, and he is brought down in the backfield, and the Eagles are still playing. It's Corey Simon.
And you know what's great is the way this reminds me of what Corey Simon did in that playoff game a season ago when he got 4th and 1 penetration and broke up the play that I thought really turned the entire momentum of that playoff game around right before the half. He comes back and makes a play that looks exactly like it.
So now the ball is outside the 1. It's 2nd and goal. Ball rolling to his right, throws back across the middle and finds his fullback Henderson. The Packers' first touchdown, and there's a little of the Green Bay frustration coming out of the part of William Henderson, who has his 2nd touchdown of the year.
And Quentin Michael is pointing towards the scoreboard and say, you might want to look up there before you decide to spike it too often.
And that's what it looks like with the extra point coming. So it's Nall getting the touchdown throw to Henderson, not Favre. The last time Brett Favre did not throw a touchdown pass was in October of 2002. The extra point is good, and it's 47-10. We'll take a break, come back. Under 8.5 to play. Favre is sitting the rest of this one out. 47-10 Philadelphia.
Leon, Joe Buck. You guys are on in 20.
Hey, look at Joseph. Leon always stands on the left, you know, to showcase my good side. So
I always stand on the left, and I wouldn't even worry about it. You look great.
Yeah, this is very true. Leon doesn't have a bad side, but I'm just saying, you see that dimple? It's my trademark dimple, baby.
This is my good side, too.
Look here, Joe, I hate to be the one to tell you this, man, but if that's your good side, you may want to stick to radio.
Joe Buck here with the legendary Leon.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
This holiday season, it's your last chance to find the right price on the Volkswagen that's right for you.
I love it.
Right now, during our year-end sales drive, get great deals on 2005 Touaregs.
You know, I think I'd marry you again. All these people as witnesses?
Yeah, right. Mom? Dad?
Lisa, will you marry me? again.
This Christmas, give her a piece of eternity.
The biggest event in music is live and it's on Fox with Green Day, Gwen Stefani, Usher, Britney Spears, and more. The Billboard Music Awards, Wednesday at 8/7 Central, only on Fox.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time.
Donovan has been Superman today. And he and his Campbell's Chunky Soup will sit on the bench with the Eagles about to get it back. And you have to believe McCoy Detmer's coming in. Huh? Yes? No?
Yeah, it looked that way with the ensemble he had on his head.
J.R. Reed on the return, and penalty flags come in. And here, finally, is Coy Detmer.
Donovan better be careful. That towel in his head, it might catch on fire.
Holding, 52, receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
When you're that hot, anything flammable is dangerous at this point. Well, what a game he had. It really, he is just come of age. Every once in a while, you can just see when the lights fully go on for somebody. And this guy now, just like we're seeing with Peyton Manning, just having everything work his way. It's same thing's happening right now for Donovan McNabb.
Well, how about the people when they picked up Terrell Owens that said, well, now there's not going to be any excuses for Donovan McNabb. He's got a go-to guy. Well,
there he is.
Yeah, I think he showed everybody what it was he was needing.
And the amazing thing that McNabb has done is highlight Terrell Owens, but still spread it around and keep everybody involved as Dorsey Levens gets it across the 30. Another first down and a look back on the great day for Donovan McNabb.
So I'll turn the other way and carry on anyhow. So I'm telling you, I just want to celebrate, yeah, yeah. Another day of living. I just want to celebrate another day of life. Had my hand on a dollar bill. And the dollar bill.
That grin has been big since the beginning.
Yeah, when you say what he needed in Terrell Owens went over 1,000 yards receiving in today's game. It's the first 1,000-yard receiver that Andy Reid has had since he became head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Detmer running for his life. Gets rid of it. Didn't look like he got it back to the line of scrimmage. Detmer ends up on his back as Aaron Campbell is there to provide the pressure for Green Bay.
But that's why you have a stunt quarterback in the game now. So he can take those kind of hits, and it's not Donovan McNabb. And how hot has McNabb been now over the past 4 games? 14 touchdown passes and just 1 interception. I don't know what that quarterback rating is, but it is up there.
Andy Reid is about to win for the 67th time as the Philadelphia Eagles head coach, and that would make him #1 in franchise history all time with those victories. And there are many, many more to come. He signed through 2010 in a deal that's going to pay him $5 million a year as Dorsey Levens loses yardage on that play.
Yeah, and the BYU job came open this week, and they have tried contacting Andy Reid and would very much like for him to become their head coach. Of course, Andy Reid spent a lot of time there and met his wife there at BYU, played under Lavelle Edwards and coached there as well. But he's very happy, very content here in Philadelphia with that contract extension and the job that he's done putting together this team and this front office, and along with the coaching staff. I mean, there's just no end in sight as to this team being a contender for a long time.
3rd down and 14. Donovan McNabb ends this day with a quarterback rating of 147.8. Penalty flag comes flying in on the play as Dorsey Levens carries it for 4 yards.
And you know, for Andy Reid, he has come so far from the days when he was a limo driver trying to earn a little extra money. He umpired 3 ball games a night at $15 a game.
49 offense.
When did he do all that?
Hey, I just read it in the newspaper today. Fresh off the presses. Don't you dare question me on this one.
I'm not questioning you, but how old was he?
Now, does he not look like a limo driver? No, seriously.
He was at least 16.
I've come a long way. I umpired some Little League games.
You did?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Which lifetime was that?
I bet he made a good limo driver, though.
Can you imagine him in that little hat and the cat suit?
For some reason, I can, actually.
Yeah.
Dirk Johnson punts it away. Good punt.
Joe wouldn't tip in either.
Chapman. Oh, you know what? If that's what this kind of a game leads to, cheap shots like that.
He is pretty tight, isn't he?
Oh, you guys stink. 47-10. Green Bay with a football.
Not in our house, buddy. Not today.
Oh no! This ain't going down. Not today, 99.
Not today.
Not today.
Not tomorrow.
Nobody coming in here. Not in our house. Not in our house.
Visa, official card of the NFL and the house of the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots, where they accept no other card to get you in. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Jason Bourne is back.
Get Bourne.
Packed with pulse-pounding extras.
Then why are they still after me?
In the explosive thriller that will blow your mind.
He's still out there. Get him.
The Bourne Supremacy. Own the DVD Tuesday.
Right now, get a meat lovers, veggie lovers, or any lovers pizza from Pizza Hut for $9.99. And you don't get some skimpy pizza. You get it the Pizza Hut way with lots of toppings. And I mean lots of toppings. Just $9.99, only at Pizza Hut.
When this hippie California mom trades spouses with this soulful Southerner, will both families gain spiritual enlightenment?
We did not evolve to live in houses.
You're crazy. Trading Spouses. Meet your new mommy. All new at 8, 7 Central tomorrow on Fox.
Tuesday's new hit show is House.
We have an epidemic. I want the maternity ward shut down.
When a mysterious illness rages out of control.
3 sick babies and a 4th showing early symptoms. What the hell is this?
There's 1,000 possibilities. Will they sacrifice one?
You want to give them different treatment?
You can't experiment on babies.
Doctors experiment all the time.
To save the rest.
You can't come in here.
Is my baby dying? Is she dying?
An episode you'll never forget. House at 9, 8 Central, Fox Tuesday.
Well, we're only one touchdown reception away from the old Andy Reid and tights. That's the only excitement maybe left in this game, although Owens has been pulled out. Detmer's playing quarterback, and that will have to wait for another week. The Philadelphia Eagles, by the way, next will play at Washington. Dahl has the ball knocked out of his hands. The Green Bay Packers able to get back on top of it. Darwin Walker was the one that got his hands on the football and knocked it away.
Yeah, we talked about Terrell Owens a little bit today, but 2 more catches over 40 yards gives him 9, and that leads the National Football League. The beat goes on for him this year.
And for these assistants for Andy Reid, whether it's John Harbaugh, who runs the special teams, or it's Juan Castillo, who deserves a lot of credit for getting some of these free agents ready to play. I mean, in that category is Hank Fraley, Artis Hicks, and now they slide in there Steve Shulo and Alonzo Ephraim, and it seems like whoever they put in there, the guy coaches them up and they play well.
Well, there's no question. I mean, Juan Castillo has had his hands full all season long and having to spend extra hours after practice with these guys. Of course, Sean Andrews, their first-round pick, he goes down early. Jermaine Mayberry then having to make the switch, and I don't think he's gotten enough recognition for the job that he's done, because these guys have stepped in and filled their shoes, and they've done a great job.
Pass is complete to Donald Driver for a first down as the Packers are trying to move the football down 47-10 with under 5 to go.
And we talked last week about offensive coordinator Brad Childress and the job that he's done for this organization for many years now under Andy Reid. And I really believe that as these jobs become open around the league, right now the Dolphins job will be open as well as the Cleveland job. And there's going to be others also that, in my mind, he should be one of the front runners of the assistant coaches that deserves an opportunity.
Now gets hammered by Dexter Wynn, who's had a long day returning punts and now coming on a blitz. He's there to bring down Craig Nall.
You know, it's just so interesting to watch Jim Johnson's defense. They're going to blitz here, run back underneath there, right where the hot read's going to be. And since 2000, Jim Johnson's defenses have the most sacks in the NFL, have allowed the fewest points in the NFL, have the best red zone defense in the NFL. It just goes on and on and on. The players change to some degree, but the success of this defense is the scheme.
5 more sacks today for Philadelphia as that pass is tipped at the line by Sam Rayburn. One guy, Troy, that's kind of a security blanket or a guy waiting in the wings is Marty Mornhinweg. If Brad Childress gets a job that I think we all believe he deserves somewhere in the NFL, Marty Mornhinweg has been brought back by Andy Reid, and he's kind of a guy that's waiting there in case that happens to slide in there as the offensive coordinator.
I think it's another good move by Andy Reid when Marty Mornhinweg became available after being let go by Detroit. Bring him into your organization. You never know what may open up.
Wow, what a throw by Nolan. An even better catch by Ferguson, who loses his balance at the Philadelphia 45, a gain of 24.
And there's Marty Mornhinweg there. And if something does happen with Brad Childress and he moves on to greener pastures, it's nice knowing that you've got someone of the qualifications of a Marty Mornhinweg who could step in, be the offensive coordinator, and keep this thing rolling.
You know, it is so tough, though, for these offensive guys to get the credit they deserve because Andy's the one that calls the plays. And it's always been that way in this league, that if you're not the play caller, people still aren't quite sure. But obviously, Childress has proven his worth around here.
But also, Andy Reid was not the play caller in Green Bay when he got the head job here in Philadelphia. So it certainly has been done. And I know that as much as what Brad Childress does during the week, I certainly feel that he's qualified.
Ed Svita is our statistician, Philadelphia's own Ed Svita, keeping us up to date with all these records and all these numbers that the Eagles, under the direction of Andy Reid, are putting up today. And Dave Schwalbe is our spotter today, keeping me straight on who's making tackles.
Hey, Schwalbe.
He's
Good
still
to see
here.
you.
Coming up on the 3-minute mark in this fourth quarter, Donald Driver with the catch, and he is wrestled down. They're going to keep the clock winding. It was Rod Hood on the tackle and nothing else. Little chance for Craig Nall to play a little bit, and he's been spreading the ball around.
You know, we saw him earlier this season play a little bit, and he has a live arm. He really can throw it. I know the big question in Green Bay has always been who is ultimately going to replace Brett Favre, and
no one.
Yeah, I can't get that right. What did Mike Sherman?
The same guy that's replaced Aikman in Dallas.
Mike Sherman said, I have a clause in my contract. When he goes, I go.
Nall fires for Walker, and Javon Walker hangs on and has a touchdown. So Nall has led the Green Bay Packers to 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. One to Henderson, this one to Javon Walker.
And that's what they saw of him when he did it against Tennessee in that blowout game. And, you know, it's a little different circumstances, obviously, when you're coming in a game like this and you just throwing it and the defense is playing prevent for the most part. But, you know, this is when you get your opportunities, and he's certainly showing the staff something and doing a good job here.
Well, and I think it builds confidence with your teammates. Should Brett ever get hurt in a playoff game or something, at least they know that he can get it done.
Absolutely. That is the 10th touchdown reception this season for Javon Walker. Pretty catch. JB with a game break. James.
Denver trailing by 3 against San Diego at the 48 of the Chargers. Plummer, as opposed to going deep for it, as Jimmy Johnson says, throws it in the flat to Darius Watts. Not enough time. 8 seconds remaining. That does it. San Diego winning its 6th straight, distancing themselves from Denver in the AFC West. Back to Joe Buck.
All right, JB, so a 2-game lead, and that's got one former quarterback shaking his head to my right. What was that?
Well, I mean, that's about as bad a mental mistake as you can have. I think Mike Shanahan's face said it all right there. I mean, he couldn't believe what he was watching. You got one last shot. You got to take it down the field.
And Marty Schottenheimer was just written off. I mean, he was going off into the sunset going into this season. I don't think anybody thought he was going to survive this year. And all of a sudden, he has just put together some magic in San Diego, as he's done time and time again in different places.
Yeah, and he's finally realized that Marty ball just doesn't cut it in the National Football League. I mean, he's been the first to admit this year that they need to start throwing the ball. That's what they've done with Drew Brees. But Chris, I'm anxious to see what happens with that quarterback situation at the end of this season. They say they can keep both Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers, but boy, I think it'll be hard to do that.
They can keep them, but they couldn't keep them happy. Not together.
A little pop-up kick, and J.R. Reed from inside the 20. And he was doing a pirouette. Ben Steele is downfield to make the tackle, and Andy Reid has just about officially knocked Earl Greasy Neal from his top spot in Philadelphia Eagles history.
You know, Greasy, he was a heck of an athlete too. You know, he played a little pro baseball, Joe.
Didn't realize that. Neal was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame back in 1969. You saw a run there by Steve Van Buren. And those of us at Fox have projected Andy Reid the winner in this game, and now as the top guy as far as head coaches in Eagles franchise history with 67 victories. Dorsey Levens ran into a pile and then tried to go outside. The Packers stay after him. No gain.
You think Greasy ever wore a cat suit?
No. Well, I don't know.
They slept in cat suits back in the day.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, something like that.
A nightcap and a cat suit. 2 minutes left, thankfully, in this one.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Sprint PCS Picture Mail. It's easy for football fans to shoot, send, and share their own football moments.
Hey kids, ready for your big moment? Yeah! Moms and dads with Sprint PCS Vision picture phones. It's easy to show Grandma the lovely holiday.
Goose! I'm a goose!
I knew that. Check it out.
Sprint PCS Vision picture phones are easy to use. More people share unlimited pictures with them than any others. Now at Sprint stores starting at $9.99.
It's easy. Say cheese.
Honk!
Close enough.
Sprint PCS. Now that's better.
Where to?
I could go for a large order of how come it looks so much bigger in the picture.
Well, how about an extra spicy did you bring to antacid?
Not me. I'm going for a total happiness.
We always get a total happiness.
And? Yeah.
Yes, total happiness just might be a Subway meatball marinara. A giant sandwich with meatballs, melted cheese, and fresh baked bread.
What you got there?
A little something I call total happiness.
Well, you got total happiness on your shirt.
Subway, eat fresh.
Sweet ride. Yeah, that was amazing. Let's do it. I'm good.
Tired of waiting for your reward? With Thank You from Citi, you get great rewards that are easy to earn, easy to redeem. That's a card you can count on.
It is a 30-point bulge for the Philadelphia Eagles. 2 minutes to go, and the Eagles with a football. The second down to 10. So an 11-1 record, a 2-game lead. The race for the best record in the NFC and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And Donovan McNabb had a record-setting day. A career day in the midst of a career year. Levens gets it on the toss. And Dorsey lowers his head, gets it out to the 35, a gain of 5. Barnett on the tackle. And these are the career highs. Donovan McNabb with his 5 touchdown throws, 14 straight completions, which is an Eagles record. 32 completions, a career high, the 464 passing yards, and Westbrook with 3 touchdown catches to give him 6 on the season.
And to me, that's really the story. You know, for the early part of the season, it was Terrell Owens, and they couldn't stop him. And now all of a sudden you throw this guy into the mix, and he's really one of the most exciting young backs in the league. He doesn't get the national attention that a lot of other guys do, but he's a smart young man. He's working on his master's degree. You can see it in his blitz pickups. He knows what he's doing. You can see it in his route running. He knows how to read defenses on the fly. Just a tremendous young player, and we're going to see a lot of them in the playoffs.
Well, and that's really the key right now for this Philadelphia Eagle team is, you know, yes, they're still playing for home field advantage, and you want to be playing your best football when you go into the postseason play, and they certainly are playing their best football right now. And then in addition to that, trying to stay healthy. So they've still got a lot to play for as they move through the rest of this season. But the most important thing is that they're able to come out of it with a healthy team, unlike what they had last year.
You saw the upcoming schedule for the Eagles. Nobody really scares you on that list if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, especially playing the way they played today and recently. You look at the playoff picture, the Green Bay Packers will still be out in front in the North, but they missed a chance to go a full game up on Minnesota, who lost today at Chicago. Green Bay has the tiebreaker there. The Rams at 500, the last spot, and then a gaggle of teams that are still in the hunt at 5 and 7.
Yeah, and I still think that, like, when you look at Green Bay and they had reeled off 6 straight wins, and, you know, eventually you're going to lose a game. You certainly don't want to go out and lose a game the way that they did here today. But, you know, sometimes a loss is a good thing. Sometimes it gets your team refocused, and now as they move through the last 3 or 4 ball games of the season. But I still go back to what the impact is on this football team if, in fact, they have to come back here to Philadelphia in the playoffs. Because a loss like this, I can tell you, you don't just push that out of your mind. It will be there if they have to come back and play against the Eagles.
But we have seen this season the teams that were undefeated and lost, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and New England, when they got beat by Pittsburgh, they have come back better after those losses.
Saw the upcoming schedule for Green Bay, and how important could that Christmas Eve game be in the Twin Cities between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. You look at the names that helped bring you this game today. Our producer Richie Zients, our director Artie Kempner, technical producer Dave Hill, production coordinator John Ward, technical director Rich Basili, audio mixer Fred Aldis. The last Green Bay loss this bad, December 16th of 1990 at Philadelphia. 31-0 today, a 30-point loss, 47-17. We'll come back and wrap up this long day on the other side of this break.